Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Casual Master Quest, episode 81, first of season 5. We are all here, everybody's back. One person had to contact a necromancer to be brought back from death itself, but he's here. I don't know if he wants brains or coughs. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my lord, you know how weird it is to hear your voice?
I've only been gone for 2 weeks.
It's not a bad thing. That's Nick, back from across the world. This is Tyler Vidito, but of course, let's not forget our third, Glenn Houston.
Hi.
Okay, it's Glenn Houston cosplaying as Asmodeus from the Casual Quest Masters. I seriously hope if we ever meet Asmodeus, it's seriously that voice.
That's a reference I do not get yet.
Okay, just Asmodeus is the Lord of the Nine Hells. Like, think actual Satan.
Okay.
But in D&D terms.
The biggest bad in hell.
Okay.
And it's that voice instead, instead of...
It's like in Dragon Ball Super when you meet the Supreme Rulers, and they're just like, hi! But like they could, like with a thought, just destroy entire universes. But they're just these like cute little blue things, and you're like, the fuck?
Oh, shit. Like, I'm thinking now Beetle from Zelda. Oh, thank you. Okay, you
hate
don't
his
know
voice.
who he is.
But it's iconic.
You'll get to meet him in Breath of the Wild. I know him most importantly from Wind Waker and Skyward Sword, but he makes a good return in Breath of the Wild. So, let's not talk about video games yet, because we're not a video game podcast yet. Nick, you just came around from halfway across... No, opposite side of the world.
Actual. Yeah.
I mean, that's halfway, but still. Details.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. So here's a question. Have you ever felt yourself get sick in real time?
Mm-hmm.
That was my second flight on my way back here.
Oh,
I could feel myself getting sick on the flight. Yeah, and I thought it was going to be, I was praying that it was going to be one of those, it's just like a travel sickness, I can just sleep it off and I'll be fine the next day. Turns out that's not the case. So, but it's good to be back in my bed, because going home, there was a bunch of changes. It was probably the last time I was going to be able to go, at least in any sort of frequency, because my dad's now moved to Germany, which means my childhood bed is gone, and I don't actually have a place. Like, I was staying in a hotel. My dad's in Germany, my sister's studying in Edinburgh, my mom's still in Dubai for the moment, but plans to go back to India at some point. So now the family's kind of split.
It sounds like a family reunion would be like a D&D campaign at that point. Try to get everybody together from...
Well, yeah, no, now I told them I'm not fucking making this journey regularly anymore. At least not in like a 2-week time. Like, I'd rather do it in a month, where like the start of the month I fly out and the start of the month I fly back, here. Because it's just fucking exhausting.
Kinda.
So now Europe, I've decided that Europe is going to be the middle point, and if somebody doesn't like it, well, I'm only taking the one flight anymore. I can do the one flight from here to London. I'm good for that. That's 10 hours. That's enough.
That is a lot. Like, 6 hours was rough for me. So doing, what do you say, 23, 24 total?
So usually it's 10 hours from here to somewhere in Europe, and then from there another 8 hours with usually a 2-hour layover. This time coming back, the smallest layover I could get with a reasonable price range was 8 hours. So it was 8 hours from Abu Dhabi to London, and then an 8-hour layover, and then a 9.5-hour flight that turned into a 10.5-hour flight coming back from London to Vancouver.
No, thank you.
Because when you're going east to west, you usually, because of the Earth's rotation, you get headwinds. Yeah. But then going west to east, you get tailwinds. So that's why flights tend to be a little quicker.
Tailwinds are good, right?
Tailwinds are good. Yes, it means they're pushing you along.
I learned that from Janna, the League of Legends character. I'm just kidding. Science, 5th grade. But
overall, it was a good trip. A lot of eating. Met old friends. Some people came to town. It was weird because we're now at the age where, and so there's going to be the youth in me speaking. It's now the age where everybody's sort of like establishing their own lives. I have a friend who I'm fairly certain he's going to get married to his now girlfriend. Like, it's one of those things I can feel it, and that's a little scary. I have a friend who's finished his master's. I have a friend who's been working for a while now. Another friend, she's been at her like current company for like 2-3 years, and she's making moves. And then here's me, fucking recording podcasts and still in school. Not that it's a bad thing. I'm just trying to make a self-deprecating joke in some light humor. It's not, you guys do, to anybody listening, take
How
your
old
time,
are you, though?
find your way in the world. I'm turning 25 in 5 months.
Oh, you're great.
Yeah,
You're doing awesome.
yeah, no.
And you're still not married with 3 kids yet, Nick?
Yeah, no,
What the fuck is wrong?
I'm behind on the Indian calendar.
Are you going to be a wizard at 30 asking for a friend?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you've already seen all this white. I have more white hair than. Well, I mean, Glenn, you don't have hair, so I can't even count you in.
Wow. Damn. Wow.
Beard
Nick's
hair
throwing
is still
shade.
hair.
Yeah.
And
Well,
chest hair?
Chest hair. It's you need a
Still
long
hair.
beard for wizard.
Nick or Glenn's head is kind of like a snowbird. It just goes south for the winter, but it never came back up.
Always winter. Winter's coming. No,
Winter's
winter
coming.
is here, and it is
Winter
here to stay.
came.
Never
But overall,
freaking
it was a good trip. I don't have. There's nothing specific that comes to mind because I didn't really do anything specific. Some people always ask me, "Are you gonna go here? Are you gonna go there?" I'm like, "No, I fucking grew up here. I'm just gonna sit around, eat, be fat, smoke some hookah,
Hell yeah.
fucking meet up with my friends, drink, watch soccer games because I'm at the correct time zone to watch them at a decent hour, and that's legitimately all I did."
I mean, that's accurate.
Sounds like a good time.
Also, when you say smoked some hookah, I thought you were gonna say smoked a hookah, which like maybe in the streets of New York or something would mean something completely different depending on your 1980s lingo. Because that's murder. Anyways, Glenn.
Well, I mean, I use shisha usually, but not a lot of people know it as shisha in the States. It's either hookah or hubbly bubbly. Hubbly bubbly is a more
I've
like
never-
80s term, 90s term. It used to be called hubbly bubbly.
Hubbly bubbly. Sounds like a spell.
Yeah.
Hubbly bubbly. Aha! Now we can, hit this bad boy for hours. I've actually only smoked off a hookah, I think, twice in my life. There was a hookah bar I went to in college, and that is the only time I've done it. During the times where I was experimenting, breathing in terrible things into my bodies, like cigars. But thankfully, it turned out okay. Now I'm only vaping. Glenn.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of weeks since we got to sit down together as a round table. What's it been like since Christmas for you?
The wife was gone for New Year, so just had a few friends over. Did some Magic the Gathering drafts, but it's been really mellow. It's really cool. So I think one night it almost got to freezing. So I can see my breath every night, which is awesome.
Almost got to freezing. You poor thing.
No, I like it. I like it. The only thing I don't like is that the houses here aren't meant to keep heat in. So
Right.
when it is that cold, it's 45 degrees in my room. And we don't have a heater that heats anything outside of the living room. So it's cold only because the cold doesn't stay outside, So So yeah, and I have a roommate who loves it when it's like 50, 55 degrees inside. And I'm like, dude, I am going to just be wearing 5 layers. Just let me turn the heater on. Anyway, so yeah, it's been pretty chill.
It's weird, and I admit I'm a hypocrite with this. I like it when it's under 70 degrees. No questions asked. It's just... And because of being in Michigan, I'm used to it getting to sub-zero temperatures at times. So, I've seen the worst, and 80 degrees is like a heat wave of death for us, essentially. But at the same time, I realize I keep telling myself, I like this. Frostbite, what's this? And it's like, suddenly it's like, oh, it's too cold in the room. And I was like, I like it between 60 and 70, a little too low. And then it's like, now I can't wear, shorts and a t-shirt. It's like, now I could actually wear clothing.
I have to put pants on.
So
Right.
So I don't usually condone sleeping with socks, but the few times I've camped out in the desert and when it gets really cold, sleeping with socks is super comfortable. That being said, because Eugene's also gone, my roommate, he's also traveling to be back later next month. My landlord turned off the automated heater programming. So last night when I got in, we turned on the heater, but because it hadn't been running, fucking all day, last night I'm pretty sure it went down to for you Americans, 40 degrees in my house. in like my apartment, and I was
I know
like,
that game.
okay, listen, I like the cold, but this is a little fucking ridiculous. And then I was also sick, and I'm like, okay, can we not do this? So I went to bed with the jumper on, and I'm like, this is not normal. It cannot be this cold.
I slept in a sweater.
And you wonder why you
and
got
5
sick?
blankets over there.
Well, no, I think my room retained some heat because it was closed for the entire duration I was out. So I just closed the doors, I bundled up, and I just got into bed, and I woke up sweating. So I think I did a good job that way.
Look, it's winter, and I still turned the fan on. I don't understand the logic in this.
No, because there has to be a balance. I'm in the same boat, Tyler. There has to be a balance. Sure, it's nice and warm under the covers, but one foot has to be sticking out to keep like good circulation going.
Balance.
And then that foot has to be exposed to the fan. So because you lose heat through your extremities, right? And that's the underside of your feet, your palms, and your ears. So if you have those exposed and then everything else covered, you're in a good state of balance.
That's so weird, because I totally sleep with 1 foot out of the cover too, and it's like, some reason that feels like it makes it magically perfect.
2 feet
And
out of
if I
the
have
cover
both
is too
covered-
cold. 1 foot out of the cover, perfect. Both feet under the cover, too warm. There's a reason.
It's just upsetting, because if I don't put a foot out, like you said, I'll wake up drenched in sweat like I'm dying in this own... I'm being cooked alive. It's like
a PC case. There has to be an intake fan and an outtake fan. Your intake fan is the covers and your head, and the outtake fan is your foot that's hanging out. Also, you need to have 1 foot covered so the devil doesn't come and find you. If you have both foot covered, the devil will drag you underneath. Yep. It's just 1 foot. He just can't get a good enough grasp. Fact. Scientific fact.
Okay. Wow. I didn't think we were going to get religious, but that's fair. That's fair. We did talk about Asmodeus, devil in the details.
What?
But, Nick, do you remember how I bought that blanket from you over in Canada?
Yeah.
That it's, pretty thin, but it's still a pretty thick blanket. I live and die by that blanket. It's fantastic. Wife hates it because she'll be like, ooh, let's sleep under one blanket. But, she's like a burning ball of fire, and she'll try to snuggle up to me, and she'll bump into that blanket because I'm just trying to keep, lightly cool. And I won't hear the end of it. But I love that blanket. It's so nice.
I can relate to that. When I'm sharing a bed with my sister turns into a fucking radiator.
This is bringing up a lot of questions, Nick.
We're siblings who sleep in the same bed. You want to turn it incestuous?
No, I mean, a third of the country is okay with this, particularly the deep south, so I won't give you too much trouble for it.
Glenn, I'm being shamed for sharing a bed with my sibling.
Nick, he's Catholic.
Listen, there's one fucking bed in the hotel room. Where the fuck do you want me to sleep?
No, that's fair. I've slept with Brandon before a couple of times, like for Cedar Point and stuff, just because we couldn't share a space.
You can share a bed with people. There's nothing sexual about it.
I know. Unfortunately, there is a stigma, especially over in the States, where, if you're laying in the same bed as somebody, it's considered something beyond, just trying to share a bed at that point.
Yeah. I got in big trouble in high school because my prom date and I fell asleep in a bed together.
Oh, that's cute.
Nothing even happened, like literally. We were watching a movie, and it was after prom, so it was like 3 a.m. Fell asleep, and I woke up to a serious lecture. So, it's the implication.
If it gives any defense to you, speaking international, it's okay, but as an American, it's weird, I guess. I used to sleep with my mom up until I was 8. Like, there'd be times where she'd want to take a nap, and I'd just sleep in the same bed as her, and, that wasn't weird. I think the only thing weird about it is she would actively try to fart on me, and that was very upsetting. But apparently moms trying to fart on their kids is just like sweet revenge for when I was 2 years old, and I would shit my pants sitting on her lap or something. Oh, I'm getting Nick.
That's funny.
Do I win?
Just trying to fart at you.
I think that's a common thing, because my wife said the same thing, where you're trying to sit on the couch and you're like laying on your mom's hip because she's sitting sideways something, and just like, oh, there's the burrito. I should warn my child, but therapy will work. But anyways, over at my end, had a pretty good Christmas. Got to see a bunch of family. No crazy drama happened. Kind of, sort of, some, yes. But had a good time. Bought my wife a game for the Switch, which I don't want to say I'm forcing her to play, but it's kind of like, hey, I bought this, so you better play it kind of thing, and I'm trying to use it too, and we'll talk a bit later in the video game section, but, got a lot of cool stuff. Got to spend a lot of time. Nick came over to visit. It was a bit of a rough situation. Yeah. Other Nick in the chat, who was pretty much stuck in Phoenix, Arizona, wasn't going to be able to come home. I made sure he got home. And it turns out we are still very different people, and it led to a lot of headbutting. It was interesting at best. But on the plus side, he bought expensive liquor and left it here, so that was nice. I know, right? Talk about, repaying. If you can pay me back in liquor, it's sad, but I'm kind of like Shane from Stardew Valley. It's like, yeah, I'll like that. Give me a beer every single,
I sell wine all the time.
Absolutely fair. And lastly, we had a session, or what do you call it? A conference where we all met up and discussed, things that we want to fix or add. And so I did a bunch of work, got everything set up. As of officially today with this episode, we'll also be on many things, including such as Twitter, such as VK, which is, according to Nick, Russian Facebook.
Yep.
We're I think back on Mixer, even though Mixer's being a little bit weird about it. It's like kind of, it's like I'm okay with one knuckle in, but two knuckles too much kind of thing. It's like it's being really iffy about something that should be, Also, we're gonna be on Pornhub now. We're gonna be on Pornhub now. Well, Nick, I've never been on Pornhub a day of my life. I had to it just felt like a good market opportunity. It's a video streaming site where people upload videos. The nice thing about it is there's a bunch of variety to it. There's a lot of amateur, but there's some professionally done videos that they put on there. And I think we are going to be able to break the market by entering as the first video game podcast on Pornhub. And
you know what? I've actually heard about Pornhub being very diverse.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. They are accepting of all kinds and types. And their position on things might change every now and then, but in the end, it's all good content. Think about it like this. A few years ago, they paid, during one of the nastiest blizzards on the East Coast, they paid for a plowing service to go clear up the roads just to help people out, just for funsies. And, their big thing was like, hey, we're going to do the plowing for you so that way you can spend your own time getting plowed yourself, kind of thing. And, that kind of righteousness, that kindness,
selflessness,
I gotta
true servitude to mankind,
and womankind, and non-binary, binary
humankind.
But humankind. Okay, yeah.
That's
hell,
what
even for animals, depending, it's for the
gotta plant those trees
and plant them seeds. But I think for some people it's going to be a hard thing to swallow, but I think people are really going to appreciate it. Hopefully we can expand our market a little bit, and maybe we'll get some extra coverage in different ways.
And the biggest thing out of all of this is that now we are on Twitter at CMQ Network.
Yes, that's the big thing. It was called Master Quest Pod because Tyler was desperate trying to find a name within a couple of days and couldn't find a way to fit Casual Master Quest. And so I named it Master Quest Pod, omitting one of the, 3 words of the damn show and then putting pod, which is one of, I hated that. I had to get the cat on 9 tails of myself for that one, but I did it, not knowing I could change it.
And now here we are with the cleaner, more appropriate Twitter handle, especially because we have 2 different things we do now, officially. We've got this, Casual Master Quest, and we've got Casual Quest Masters. Which
also took a very diverse turn after you went out for a couple of weeks. I'd like to apologize in advance, Nick. Those who have listened.
Vol's not fucking ready for this shit.
Just get ready for that. Just get ready for that fire, buddy. Shit. That fire's coming right at you.
Shoot. So we are Yeah, I'm gonna say it's an inside joke, but episode 14 will be interesting, or 15, one of the two.
Yeah.
This is a video game podcast, I think. Yes, no, maybe so.
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe. Yes, inadvertently. And so I think we should talk about video games. So we're gonna start with you. Cam is not here.
Freudian slip. I'll just go because I have the fewest on this list. Because I've been traveling, I haven't exactly had a chance to.
I kind of want Cam on here right now. Vita, Wii U.
JRPGs. So yeah, I've only had really, a little bit of downtime.
But we got a deposit in the house. He's gonna bust through that wall.
In between traveling and seeing friends and family, I've only played Dead Cells, and in the last 2 weeks, I've put about 12 hours into it, which I think is pretty good. While I've been traveling,
it's pretty good. That's a roguelike game for the Switch, right?
Dead Cells. It's not only on the Switch, but I feel like from everything I've seen, it feels real. It looks like it was made for the Switch. Is the best way I can put it. Like it, I don't really like playing on the Switch handheld mode, and I cannot explain why. But Dead Cells was fun to play handheld. It's a roguelike where it
like FTL.
I don't even know. No, it's a Castlevania style like side scroller.
Cool.
Like 2D platformer side scroller kind of thing with a whole bunch of challenges and a whole bunch of difficulty and pretty interesting, pretty in-depth system actually. It looks pretty simple on the surface, but as you keep playing, you can unlock bunch of things that make it even more intense. So you have 3 classes of weapons, 3 classes of skills, 3 different types of skills, and a whole bunch of mutations where you can add up to 3 through your playthrough that can change your play style and game in so many different ways.
But it is, like I said, a roguelike where once you die, you gotta start over, but you'll get like certain marks, I guess you could say, like not checkpoints, but extra abilities or something like that.
No, but you can unlock abilities. You can unlock certain things that'll give you a certain amount of money that you had on your previous run, and if you die, it'll give you a certain amount of money back when you start up again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like one of those games where it's easy asterisk to play, but it's crazy in the master style.
Exactly. Because at each stage, there's a time trial and also a challenge for killing a certain number of enemies without getting hit. And that'll unlock more loot for you.
Like story-wise?
Honestly, I haven't... you start off as a headless prisoner, and you gotta figure your way out, figure out what's going on, because people are... As a headless prisoner, you just have like a fucking wisp of a head with a giant eye or whatever. Not a giant eye, but like, it's just a black cloud over where your head would be and like a red eye in the center.
Yeah, he got ahead of himself.
Exactly. And so you just run around, try to figure out the lore of the place, and try to get to the final boss. And you start off in a prison cell where it seems you keep finding clues over some sort of disease or infection that's taken over the prison and also the small island or town that the prison's based on. And as you kill enemies, you get gold, and you also get something called cells, which you use for upgrades over a variety of things.
When I thought it was cells as in like prison cells, but it's actually like biological cells.
Yeah. Because after you beat the game once, this is a kind of spoiler. After you beat the game once, you unlock a modifier called the boss cell modifier. And I don't know how you collect more, because it seems like there are more, but I only have the one right now because in all my time of playing, I've only managed to get to the end once, because it gets pretty fucking brutal. Because it's kind of like Dark Souls in the way you gotta time the dodges and time your strikes, otherwise you just get motherfucked. And so at the start of each run, once you beat the boss once, you can increase or decrease the modifier, which essentially changes the difficulty of the game and the loot that you find.
So does it give you like a Diablo style where it's like the higher the difficulty, the better the loot kind of thing, or?
Essentially, yeah. It upgrades the quality of the world drops just overall, because you can go around finding things that are at certain levels, and then sometimes you'll find things that match your highest level skill. So if you keep upgrading that skill, that weapon will keep scaling up, and I found that through normal runs maybe 3 or 4 times, not too often.
Okay.
And then there are traps and there are powers, and so it's pretty interesting. You have a lot of diversity in how you want to play the game.
So you got to play multiple playthroughs, but how long did it take you in a single playthrough to get to that final boss that one time?
I want to say an hour.
Oh, wow. Okay, so if you were somehow godly good, you could beat this game in an hour, hypothetically?
Even quicker. Because you don't so it depends on how you want to play the game. I took my time, and
it sounds like the point of it is to play it more than once, though, too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, it depends. So my build was very tanky, so I wasn't doing as much damage, so I had to take my time through each stage, because there are also multiple paths as you're exploring. There are so many different paths to get to the end.
Is this a Nintendo exclusive, or is this on multiple platforms?
No, it's on multiple platforms, I'm pretty sure.
Is it? I thought it was Switch exclusive. The thing is, I'll be thrown off here, Nick. If you gotta beat it multiple times, did you really beat the game then?
No, I beat the boss once, is what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't want you to think that you can give a fair review of this game if you only beat it the one time.
That was never my point, Tyler. It's on Switch, PS4, Xbox One, iOS, Microsoft Windows, Linux.
Shit, I broke glass.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, no, it came out in 2017, and I can't remember what it launched with.
Either way,
I know it came on Switch. I thought it launched on Switch, but yeah, it sounds like a great game. I'm just giving you crap, Nick, just for the meme of...
Totally for the meme.
No, sorry, it came out 2018. It came out on PS4, Switch, Windows, and Xbox One. It is actually on the PC Game Pass right now. I can tell you that.
Ooh. Yeah. Cough, cough, hint, hint. Which is exceedingly becoming a better deal by the minute.
For real.
Holy smokes.
I still want to play that.
You said that was that space western.
That space western. It's like
outer
sci-fi.
Outer Worlds.
That's I really want to play
okay.
that. So.
I don't want to say Outer Wilds and screw up here, because I've been hearing a lot of those two different names.
Funny how
it's upsetting
how they came about so close to each other and they sound so similar.
Right.
I can't abbreviate.
I'm trying to. Isn't there I'm trying to think like a Ghost Recon game or something like that where they had something with wilds in it and it messed with me?
Ghost Wilds?
You know what? I don't. Is it Ghost Wilds? Are you making shit up? Because I'll believe you.
Let's see. It sounds...
Ghost Wildlands.
There it is.
Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands.
And that messes with me. Wildlands. Okay. Anyways. That was your big game that you played?
Yeah, definitely recommend Dead Cells. There's also a DLC that I just found out about. So I'm going to see how much that costs and if I can pick that up. But, yeah. No, Dead Cells. It's fun. It was a fun, as I was traveling, kind of game to play. Really.
If you were to give it a rating, what would you give it?
Solid, like 7.5, 8 out of 10.
Wow, you're giving it a number even though you said you weren't qualified. I'm just kidding. Nick is not amused.
He is going to kill you. Stop, Tyler, stop.
Listen, Vol was away for a couple of weeks, and the only one that I've caught up on was the fact that Nox put somebody into fucking prison just because he thought it'd be funny, and then he had to fight for his life. All right.
Wait, which time?
The first episode after I was.
He forced me to drink alcohol. I'm pregnant.
And then role playing with heavy imagery of a pregnant woman kneeling down while she's receiving a facial. Like, listen, Vol does not stand for this bullshittery.
It was mayonnaise. You gotta relax.
That's why I said RPing. So
it was exfoliating.
Well, I mean, okay, let's not get into that. Glenn, what have you been playing?
I feel like if it was mayonnaise, the oil would make acne even worse.
Unless you have dry skin, well it would be if it's wintertime, you know?
True. I mean, maybe this kind of mayonnaise from this alchemy or jug of alchemy would have like the right amount of essential oils, if you will.
Olive oil mayonnaise. Yeah.
But yes, I'm gonna try to do what Nick was trying to do there, and continue on. Glenn, you and I, not together, unfortunately, but we both played Stardew Valley quite a bit these past couple of weeks. What a game to kind of like end the year on.
Shit. Like, it brought me back to the beginning of 2018, you know? Or 2019.
I mean...
Oh, my God!
Especially with that 1.4 update, you know, clearing everything up and making things just a little bit different in the right directions. It was enjoyable to play through. Mm-hmm. How much time did you put in the past few weeks?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm scared to look. between the Four Corners stream farm and my own personal one that I restarted up, I decided to do a Four Corners farm by myself. So it's
interesting choice.
Yeah. I just know that, you know, the fact that there's better spawn rates for mining in that one corner, there's better fishing, the trees will grow faster in the other one. Maybe it might be a little different in its ability to produce certain things compared to a normal farm that would be the same size with less division.
Right. But a lot of the stuff was separated by, like, you know, rocks and trees that you can't break until much, much later. So the fact that Big Ol' Lex, essentially... I
just always keep sprinklers.
True. I decided to play it on the Switch this time around because I tried playing it on the Switch. Basically, what started, got burnt out, started playing Stardew on the PC, but then Tyler has to work. But Stardew Valley is on the Switch, so I started playing it when I was doing Passenger, and suddenly I put 3-4 hours on the PC, 10 hours on the Switch. It's like playing the same thing over again twice. So I just started committing to the Switch, and before I know it, I'm about 60 hours into this playthrough, and like there's new stuff, but then I suddenly hit that same old rhetoric where I'm like, welcome to Wine Land where we sell wine. Hope you like wine because that's all we got.
Our sheds are twice as big when you upgrade them now. So the sheds are bigger so you can make more wine.
And make more sheds. Yeah. Big brain.
I've got my second shed already.
I stopped myself because at 3 sheds that were upgraded, because it's like, okay, if I make a crap ton of sheds, that means I gotta make more crops to fit in those sheds and to keep it continuously going and all that. And I had like a 3-4 piece enigma trying to solve the mystery of balance. With the first thing is, on the Switch version, trying to do or interact with objects in corners is almost impossible. Yeah. Because it's strictly horizontal vertical, but you can access those corner things by using the cursor on the right Joy-Con, hovering over it and clicking on it. But then that takes fucking forever, it's annoying, it's tedious, so I cut that out. So I got a setup to where I can basically throw 400 fruit or so into barrels to turn them into wine.
It's a lot.
Have you converted the quarry yet? No.
Don't do it.
No.
You can.
God, please,
but you
no.
can.
No. I know. No.
You can even build them on the bridge.
Yes. No. I'm running a farm that can handle between 11 and 1,200 crops right now.
Good.
That is way too much.
God. Yeah.
That is way too much, Glenn.
I think, honestly...
Like, it was great.
What I'm going to do is try to make I'm going to try and make, like, a village more than anything else. I've never made a mill before. So I'm going to, like,
I thought you said you were going to say, I'm going to make a villain. I'm like, yes.
No, you can.
Corporate
You can turn your children into birds and send them away. That's pretty villainous. But yeah. I'm going to make, like, an area for different types of animals. I'm going to make all the different things. I might even make a slime hutch. Like, just make things that I've never made before and not worry so much about the money. Just worry about having enough to be able to do those things, And the crystal mines or the skull mines, skull caverns, have a much... I think it's like a wider scope and new things that can come up. So, and then there's also apparently new endgame. So, I don't know.
I guess that's fucking news to me.
Yeah. You can build Pam a house, and that's like the last thing you can do.
Yeah. I just did that. 500,000.
There's a thing after that. You have more to do.
Are you talking about for a JoJo Mart?
No. Well, wait.
Because JoJo Mart also has a one last bundle you can do. I think it's called the Missing Bundle. And completing it gives you a new building to interact with.
Okay,
have you heard about that?
I think we may be talking about the same thing. We just don't want to spoil it. Here, I'll put it in chat.
I'll say it out loud. Yes.
Cool. Great. I didn't know that was how you interacted with it to get it, but that's cool.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. And what they want is actually pretty challenging. So my final problem is I just completed the community center completely. I am hooking up Pam with the new house. I married off Penny.
Nice.
I married Penny, so I got her out of that trash hole before, disaster could happen, but I guess I'm gonna give Mom a good house just to be, a good son-in-law.
You didn't stay anonymous?
Lastly, I haven't done it yet, actually. Okay. I've done it where I paid for it, but it wasn't built.
Okay.
It's gonna happen the next day or two. My main problem is I'm trying to get ancient fruit, so year 3 is just gonna be cha-ching, motherfucker. I got 500 seeds ready, which is quite a bit. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But I was like, before I do that, I want to make sure I process all the fruit and stuff I got over the last year.
Well, what year are you in?
I'm at year 2, winter 5.
And you've got 500 ancient seeds? Oh.
Yep.
See, here's what I've learned too. Stream farms and multiplayer farms progress a lot slower because when you go into a menu, time doesn't pause.
It's like doing a high school project.
God, yeah. So I think we're almost at the end of year 2, and I've got, because we divvied out the greenhouse, I've got 3/4 of it full of ancient fruits, because Apple was like, meh, and Manders was like, but what you want? So 3/4 of it is ancient fruit, and I don't have any extra, and I've got 1.5 sheds. I was like, dude, you're killing it. That's crazy.
Counteract that, though, as a single player, we don't get access to energy giving, your first spring is almost super dependent on you micromanaging how much energy you use, whereas on multiplayer you can just take a fucking nap and be good. I mean, the difference exponentially changes in the single player's favor very quickly, but
I don't know, I did the maple syrup event in the Secret Wood, and it took 3/4 of a day because that's how long the cutscene was for everybody else. So I lost almost a whole day to do a cutscene, which is why I now skip them. But
that's fair.
Unless I haven't done it before, But my marriage took 2/3 of a day. It was crazy.
With the starfruit from year 2 summer, that's 2,400 starfruit. Made a lot of money. It was great.
Yeah.
The problem was fall. Cranberries.
Amazing.
With a $1,200 plot farm, I accumulated over 10,000 cranberries. I got to process 400 at a time.
Oh, so you didn't sell them?
I'm in the dilemma. Do I sell the fucking cranberries, or does the wine baron keep them to turn them into wine over the years?
Do you have the artisan mod on?
Does the Pope pray?
Great. So, one thing that should be of note is that normally artisanal goods don't have a rating. They're just mayo, duck mayo, wine, all that stuff, right?
But you're supposed to be able to upgrade them by putting them into cask in the basement.
Yeah, no, so when you do that, it's fine. I was just this is almost kind of off topic, but I can't make dinosaur mayo, which apparently is something that got added in the update. Yeah, it doesn't work.
I got dinosaurs on my farm.
I have 10 dinosaurs, but it doesn't. When that mod is on, that allows artisanal goods.
So we're talking Power Rangers now?
Yeah, but since they have a rating now, they don't have that in for the update, so I can't make some of the new stuff. I can't make caviar.
I think you asked if I had the mod. The answer is no, because I'm playing straight vanilla. I thought you meant the ability, the artisan ability where you get 40% more.
Or 40% more, yeah.
Yeah, but
so
can we talk about
I apologize. What's that?
Fish ponds.
I have not touched it yet. What are they like?
Just love it.
You realize you're going to reel me back in
I know.
before I even quit, 1000%. So be careful.
Certain fish can't be bred. I love fishing in the game, so I've caught everything but the legend. So I've got all 4 of the legendary fish, the fire eel, the ice pip, and I even went and caught...
Yeah, fuck the legend and fuck octopuses. Don't actually do that. Suck. There's enough hentai for that.
But I got 2 fire eels because they were not on the list of unbreedable. I think the rainbow trout and the 4 or 5 legendaries are unbreedable, but everything else can be bred. But the fire eels, when you get 10 or more in the container, have a chance to give you
Okay.
like magma geodes, or super cucumbers can give you iridium ore. You know, like it's not just caviar. They can give you some pretty dope stuff. And so like,
Okay.
I think what is that one fish that looks like you can get it at the night market? It's the blobfish. Yeah.
Blobfish.
Yeah. So I'm doing blobfish, ice pip, fire eels, and I think I decided to only do 3. Because those
The
are the 3.
windfish. That way we can finish up the avatar elements, right?
Everything was
Yeah.
fine until the fire eels attacked.
But the cool thing is, you pull,
They invaded the other ponds.
you'll know that it's like their higher value thing that can give you better stuff if when you put it in, it doesn't let you put a second one in for a while.
Okay.
And then it also changed the color of the water. So the water is like reddish now that there's 2 fire eels in there.
Blood moon reflection.
It's so cool. Like
That looks-
I walked up and picked up some gold
It's
ore,
gotta
and
look cool.
I was like, gold ore from my fire eels? Fuck yes. So anyway, I love it.
I think the big thing for Stardew Valley with the 1.4 update that I'm excited to try to do is the Desert Trader. Nick, have you gotten to play and see this Desert
Not
Trader?
at all.
That's cool.
You probably saw him during the night market. He's the guy that gives you the coffee, which they fixed. I'm pissed off that instead of getting a coffee every 10 minutes, you can get one once a night. That's fucked.
Just get some
Also,
coffee
fuck
beans.
the fact that Krobus can only sell you 1 iridium sprinkler every Friday now, instead of exiting the menu and go back in and buy as many as you want.
Have you seen the trick to that?
That was heartbreaking. There's a trick to that?
If you let somebody into your farm, because I don't know if the console has multiplayer yet, but if you let
Yes.
somebody in and you both hit a sprinkler on the ground, anything that's on the ground at the same time, you will get 2. So we duplicated on my stream farm. It's a bug in the game. Your wife showed it to me, and we made casks and iridium sprinklers. It's crazy.
My wife?
Yeah.
Glenn, stop.
No.
Glenn, stop.
Why stop?
No.
I just wanted to validate.
This is something I got to list on divorce papers, dude.
No,
That's fucked.
It's not fucked. It was great. It meant that I didn't have to wait for Krobus. I just got to do it.
Evil. So, we talked too much about Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley update. I want to get 333 Omni Geodes so I can get a glowing hat, because that sounds cool, Stardew Valley. Fuck the $10 million clock. You're giving me a weird face, Glenn.
I just want to get a return scepter someday.
Yeah, that's the last thing I got so far. It's nice. I'm sorry, I'm Daddy Warbucks. When I kicked Jojo Mar out, I replaced them. So, anyways, Glenn, you've been playing the usual WoW Classic. You want to give us an update on how fun that is?
It's good. Partially because, I log on a couple times a week and then raid, and that's it. So, I probably still log 10 hours a week, but it's nothing crazy. They just don't want loggers in a raiding guild. So, they want you to get on and play with people in the guild and do stuff with them. But if you just literally log to raid and then log off, they don't like that. So
they call them loggers now?
I don't know. There was something like that. They're like, yeah, that's just fucked. And I was just like, or we're people that don't just play WoW every day for 6 hours.
You have to commit every waking moment to prove your worth before you can just come on with your fully ready the raid character that joined with us.
And
are you still doing Molten Core and Onyxia or something a little bit deeper than that?
That we haven't gotten anything since that. I think Blackwing is coming out soon, which people are really stoked about. Apparently there's a lot of items.
Hell yeah, best paladin armor in the entire game, expansions and all.
My
buddy
favorite by Chaz
far.
Will be super stoked about that. But I've gotten some good stuff. I got Obsidian Edgeblade. I got this thing called the Pulverizer, I think. It's a PvP purple that has a chance to stun all the enemies around you by knocking them down for 3 seconds. So it's pretty coveted.
That's pretty cool, actually, yeah.
I got the Helm of Wrath, which is a part of the Warrior Raid set. It's the tier 1 head. And then they gave me the Black Dragon Sinew, even though I'm not a hunter, because no one in our guild needed it. Because all of our hunters had theirs, so I have that.
I had no idea. I have no idea what that is.
It has to do with the hunters' level 60 quest to get their super dope bow that kills demons really well. So I can just flex an Iron Forge and be like, haha, hunters! Because most of them in the game do not have that item, but everybody in ours did. So it's like, give it to Glenn, give it to Razeth. He can flex.
He'll
on
know
hunters.
He'll fucking gloat on trade chat.
Hell yeah! I'll just be like, bop, 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 bop. I've done it multiple times, and they just go, eh.
Such modesty.
Yeah.
Such modesty.
I missed out on Quick Strike Ring, which would have been really cool. But it's been good. The guild's cool. They're a bunch of former frat guys, so they're still a little broy, but they're also very
bunch
nice.
of chads.
It's like they're former chads. They're recovering chads. Every once in a while it comes out.
They're recovering chads.
Yeah.
So they've spent like a few months in CA, Chads Anonymous.
Yeah. No. The other night when we were raiding our guild master was like, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm so confident in you guys that I got fully blitzed before we started raiding, and so he just was drunk off his
college
ass
confidence right
the
there
whole time, and he killed it. I mean, we never fully wiped on Molten Core, and then no one even died on Onyxia.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
No one got sent to the eggs.
No one. No.
Holy shit, that's pro
and then
shit.
The next week we did it, and we did a full 10 of 10 clear of Molten Core, and then Onyxia in 2.5 hours.
I'm kind of impressed how casual your guild is, for despite being like hardcore raiding at this point, because like being caught with an RUI mid raid, that's terrible.
RUI?
Like people get raiding under the influence. And I'm just fucking around. I just made that term up. Like, there was a time where we had an issue because our tank healer was so fucking drunk that she was trying to heal the boss and was instead healing herself as a result. And we couldn't figure out, like, the healing chart showed she was healing a lot, but like, her healing meter is fine, but we're not getting heals. Why do we keep dying?
Oh, look, I have the boss selected.
Fuck
just
you, bottle
myself.
You.
Oh man, that's funny.
So we actually had a 80-something-year-old grandmother that was one of the healers of the group, and she didn't know how to play, but she could hit the hell out of that one heal button, and so they let her raid, and she was adorable. So it's like, why not?
A gamer grandma.
It was nice. She was very inclusive. Also a ninja. But yeah, World of Warcraft.
But I have douses now too. I got my douses thing.
You have what?
I can do douses in Molten Core. You have to do a whole quest with the Hydraxian Waterlords to get these special things that douse the flames of each boss, so you can actually get to Ragnaros.
I believe you.
It's a big thing. Only like 15 people in our guild can do it, and I did it.
Nice.
And we
were truly a warrior of patience.
And our last our last raid was full guildies. No adverting, no randos.
No pugs?
No pugs. No pugs.
I don't wish to call anybody out in the video chat, but somebody is making odd faces. Asking for a friend. What's so funny, Nick? Because you're giving me a look.
We're nerds,
right? I know what we're gonna talk about. Well, first of all, the Hydraxian, whatever the fuck you said, just
Hydraxian Waterlords.
Yeah, that, because I'm like, yeah, that's a thing. But then also this, I'm sorry, I am paying attention, but then this caught my eye, and yeah.
So Nick just sent us a.
Is that Breath of the Wild?
Yes, Breath of the Wild.
You bet your ass that's Breath of the Wild.
I'm excited to do that.
So it's a GIF image from Breath of the Wild of Link riding his horse, seeing a sentry guardian aiming at him. He tries to deflect it back at the guardian after hopping off the horse, but then accidentally deflects it into the horse, causing a massive explosion and almost guaranteed to kill that horse. That was unexpected. Thank you, Nick. I'm sorry for calling you out. It was beautiful.
No, you should have, because I should have been paying attention. But in my delirium, I'm like, "Oh, a Breath of the Wild GIF. Let's look at this," and then that's what it turned out to be. So I figured I might as well share.
It's less that we were funny and more that was funny. Hey, Nick, I have a friend. If you ever get in a rap battle, my friend Nick gave me the best rap as a person named Nick.
Did you say rat battle or rap battle?
Rap.
Okay. See, the sinus congestion.
Norwegian rap versus your roof wet.
The sinus congestion is affecting my hearing, so I just wanted to confirm that that's what you said.
But here's the line, and then you just leave it.
I gotta get that.
My name is Nick. I have a big idea, and then you drop the mic.
Yeah, that's when you know that you probably should never rap.
I don't know. The first time I heard that, I died for a while.
As explained earlier, I have to do my best to not fucking lose my shit, otherwise I will end up in a coughing fit. So I found that truly humorous, Glenn.
Nice.
Yeah. So you've been playing a little bit of Breath of the Wild?
Literally a little bit. I played for like an hour and a half the other day, because I want to do it on stream. Because people really enjoy, like, especially with how fresh I am. Game? It's pretty great so far. I've not seen anything so advanced as what it looks like he's wearing in this little GIF and stuff. Right now, I'm just like hitting people with fucking monster arms and shit. And they break. I got my first sword and I was like, yeah, I got a shield. And I was like, yeah. And it's not even a shield. It's just like a hunk of wood. And, it felt like a Zelda game because I was like swinging with a sword, a short sword and a shield. And then it's like, your thing is badly damaged. And I was like, okay, why do I care?
Oh,
it's broken. Glenn. And I was like, the fuck? Now I have to hit people with dead skeleton arms? So I think
that was something that took me a while to get used to, is there's no leveling system. The weapon system is your levels. And so you learn, and Tyler learned this with me as well. I'm very, very conservative on my weapons. So for example, let's say I have 6 weapons, like 6 weapon slots, and 5 of them are like level 25 weapons, right? But the moment I pick up like a level 50 weapon, that goes at the bottom of the fucking list, and I'm gonna fight the fucking big bad with all the level 25s and break through those first before I touch the 50.
That level 50 might never get touched with Nick.
Unless I absolutely fucking need it.
They did say that the Master Sword does not break.
It enters an inactive state. So it doesn't break, but after you use it enough times, it kind of goes into recharge mode.
Oh,
the only time it'll stay completely active is in areas of like pure evil, and you'll be able to use it like without having to worry about it breaking. But otherwise, if you're using it normally against like bokoblins or like whatever the fuck else, because I can't remember the names.
Chop trees down like a boss.
Should have heard me say that the right way the first time. Bakak goblins.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I was like, did he say Bakak goblins? I mean, they might be. I don't know.
Yeah. So Breath of the Wild is fun.
I tried teaching.
So it's great. I like
Glenn.
it.
I tried teaching him to. He can distract guardians by whistling at them. They'll look around.
Really?
No.
No. It actually gets their attention immediately to look at it.
But I haven't died yet.
Like, he tested the whistle, and I was like, oh, he's gonna fucking do it. I'm looking at my wife, I'm like, don't do it. Like, he immediately, really, this is a trap, when I told him there's no fall damage.
Yeah.
But
he's like, jump off the tower, there's no fall damage. And I was like, and one of the guys in chat was like, that's where I died first, by jumping off the tower.
I'm like, rats, foiled again.
But it's great. It's beautiful. I'm really enjoying the puzzles. I like the art style. It's really funny to me that they have this amazing sound design where I can hear like everything. This really interesting art style that I appreciate and enjoy. That's realistic in a cartoony way. And then the thing that gets me though is that they have all of this deep story. Great animation, fantastic sound design. I love the music. I love the way things move and interact. But they can't pay voice actors to say anything other than, like it's just like they can't actually fully narrate the dialogue. We have to read everything. And I don't know if that's just them clinging to the past. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Everybody is effectively a monster. They never say any words. Oh, hup, hup. Like that's the only actual sounds I get. It's just funny to me. It doesn't degrade it for me, but I don't know.
I think part of it is like a nod to the past and like holding on to that a little bit, but also a part of it is to maintain some of that immersion that it is a different world, a different language, except of course like the cutscenes and when there is actual narration and you get to choose either English or Japanese, whichever version you play. But I think that's part of maybe, or at least that's how I see it. It's
so I will hear words at some point.
Oh yeah, like you saw it during
a little bit with the voice, the voice at the beginning, but that's like it. Like, and there's no one saying that. It's wake up.
As you get further into the story, there are going to be some story-heavy like cutscenes, and you will get
like
some narration.
cinematics. It's all fully voiced.
Good. I dig that. I would love that because that helps me get more immersed. You know, like right now, I feel like I'm watching a dub anime. You know, like I have to read this.
And this is on you. This is your choice. If you don't like the voice acting, because a lot of people have questioned the voice acting in English. It sounds amazing in Japanese. Like, they did it right, and then when they did the localization, I like the voice actors themselves. Like, I read up on, different voice actors, not talked with them, but, did listen to interviews. They're cool people, but sometimes it feels like either they were tryhards or they just didn't, match the vibe of the character that they were trying to do. So if you want to try it in Japanese after the first cutscene, I highly recommend it.
I probably will, because and funny thing is, I usually prefer the Japanese voice actors, which is weird to say as somebody who wants to work in voice acting, possibly dubbing, but
right.
I really, really, really love Japanese voice actors.
Is this it? Here you go.
Is this it?
Yeah. I think why it works better in Japanese is because I think it's a Japanese game, and I think the game was made from that perspective and for how Japanese voices are when it comes to video games. And so that's why, even the same thing with anime, that's why there's a mishmash of when you see the English dub and it just doesn't feel right. It wasn't made originally to be in English.
Yeah. Well, it's it's funny too, for different casts, it tends to be different for me. Like, Dragon Ball Z, can't do it in Japanese. That's a woman. Goku is not a lady. Sorry, I can't do it.
How do you know?
Because I've seen the voice actress, and I also know that he has 2 sons which he sired. So that kind of indicates that he's got a penis.
What he sired?
Which he sired?
What a way.
They are his biological children, so even if he loves food more than he loves Chi-Chi, he still does bone. Anyway.
I mean,
what a terrible
But then Naruto
Goku is a terrible
only
father.
In Japanese. I only do Naruto in Japanese.
Even though his voice actor is also a female?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe that's
shit,
it.
did I just
No.
Glenn?
Well, the voice actor I know for sure the English voice actor is also a woman. But, I mean, I respect her and love her work, and I think it's good, but I prefer the Japanese voice acting in that one,
It stinks because I think the initial voice actor for Naruto in English is female, but when they switched it over into Shippuden, they
she just talks
retired
slower.
her.
Yeah, no, it's the same person.
Kind of like Ash
Her name is
Ketchum.
Molly Flanagan.
I think
Ash Ketchum is the same.
I think
voice
that's
actor.
my friend. No,
From the very beginning, same one. Yeah.
Fact check the shit out of that. Ash Ketchum had a cool.
At very least, it would Molly Flanagan, I think, is the name of the voice actress that has worked on Naruto. She's been Naruto from the beginning for sure.
The original Ash Ketchum had a deep, gravelly voice, well, as deep as a kid can, and then they kind of updated it to make it look like, hey, I'm Peter Pan, actually. I shouldn't sound like a smoke.
Ash Ketchum, voice actor Veronica Taylor, seasons 1 to 8, and then Sarah Natochenny, seasons 9 to present.
Yeah.
Well, how many seasons have there been since 9 started?
How many stars are there in the sky? You tell me.
I don't know.
I honestly don't know. I think we're past season 13.
Okay, so but the first 9
she
years,
was a major.
It was Veronica Taylor.
Right.
Yeah, Veronica Taylor will always be Ash for me.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that it had changed because I haven't watched the show in so long. So, and because Veronica Taylor is a voice actress that I follow on social media, so I watch her post things and stuff.
But for the Japanese voice actress has been the same, Rika Matsumoto, since it started. So, anyways, video games.
Video games, yeah.
So that's Breath of the Wild.
Love it. I will definitely check out the Japanese.
What have you been playing?
So, the game I was talking about earlier for Christmas that I got my wife, but I ended up playing myself, was Ringfit Adventure. Because, guys, I'm fat as fuck. And, that needs to change. And I thought with my job being physically demanding, it would work itself out. But, no, it hasn't. So, I decided that whenever I get an easier day, or I know I'm going to get an easier day, I'm going to start using Ring Fit Adventure. And for those who don't know, it's out on the Switch. It's basically this generation's version of... Nick in the chat saying 22 seasons, by the way, for Pokemon. And...
Shit.
Yeah, so she left fairly...
A while ago,
early on, loosely is a term, though, because there's hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of episodes of Pokemon.
Yeah.
But
at least three movies
Ringfit
before then.
Adventure is a awesome thing. With some caveats. The idea that they give you a steering wheel, essentially, put a Joy-Con that, Joy-Cons are super sensitive. With an infrared sensor that can check your heart rate and all that by putting your thumb on it, cool as shit. I love that thing. I love the setup. It's great. The way you can squeeze in there, pull it out, and it's sensitive to that, to like using it as motion controls. Probably one of the most innovative things. I'm sorry, Labo, you suck. The other Joy-Con is the thing I have a problem with. Because they give you one Joy-Con for you to essentially hold with your arms, but they want to sense your legs. So they put the second Joy-Con and some kind of Velcro strap thing to put onto your leg, and then they use that to sense, when you're squatting, when you're running, and all that stuff. When I first watched a quick play, this was actually something I noticed, and they commented on it. A quick play from Giant Bomb using Abby Russell. She was reviewing this game. This is what got me to buy it, because I thought it looked cool. That strap does not like to stay on the thigh at all. At all. And I couldn't find the right material. At this point, I was like, I don't even think I want to use the strap. I want to sew like a pocket on the front of my jeans, essentially, to use that as my method. But there's been times where it's like the game wants you to run in order to progress. Literally run in place. And so, I got to march in place to get moving, but after enough movement, that sucker will go down to my knee, which makes it harder for it to sense whether or not I'm actually running or just, waddling. And, you okay there, Nick?
Oh, yeah. I'm okay.
I wasn't sure if I thought you had thoughts here. So, imagine.
I do.
If this thing, yeah, Imagine Dragons.
No, I have
these
thoughts.
nuts across your face. Oh, okay.
I was
yeah,
going to say,
thoughts.
it sounds like these guys have a hard time designing technology after the Wiimote issues with the weakness of the bands that held them on your hands. How many videos did you see of people like breaking their televisions when they were playing like Wii Sports, playing tennis or something? It's just interesting. That's a consistent thing for them.
The nice thing about Nintendo is their technology is innovative, but there's always like something where it's like they forgot to actually put good parts to it to make sure it works. The Wiimote had a defective strap, plus it didn't have gyroscope controls that were actually as sensitive as they thought, so they had to introduce the Wii Motion Plus. The 3DS actually turns out it was not good for children under the ages of 5. Also, the strap on it, or the thing on it wouldn't work, so sometimes you'd accidentally get stuck in 3D or not. And otherwise you'd get super headaches from, if you had glasses, sometimes it wouldn't work for you at all. In this case, in this one instance, the strap was kind of iffy. There was a time, for example, where I'm fighting an enemy and I got to do 25 squats. And, I'm a big guy. Squats aren't easy. But, the controller just needs to sense that the Joy-Con is going from vertical to diagonal/horizontal. And so when this sucker got to my kneecap, and I didn't realize, what was going on here, it was not recognizing me doing my squat as low as I was. I was teabagging the fucking floor before I realized what the problem was. And by the time I finished that, I had cramped thighs for 2.5 days. Even after a mandatory stretch the game makes you do. It hurt.
Yeah.
That's a good, low, deep squat, Tyler. I'm kind of proud.
I was committed because I wanted to kill this fucking enemy. It's amazing how turning into a game makes it enjoyable.
Yeah.
There was one time where I started to question whether or not I should be doing this at the rate I am, because you got to think, being a big guy, there was a time where it's like, hey, it wants you to do a high knee step to go upstairs. I'm on wood floors, and suddenly it sounded like a scene from Jumanji as I'm like, house is shaking. I'm not shitting you. House was shaking, and Amanda's sitting there over there by the computer. She starts turning around. Nick is sitting there, drink in hand, kind of like, this isn't happening. He's going to go through the fucking floor. Quick trip down to the basement. And I'm like, I might have damaged the floor doing that. There's some amount of control that needs to be done with, how much it lets me get away with certain things. But I'm having a good time. The last time broke me for 2 days with how sore I was with that whole squatting issue. Yes, Nick, I got good flexibility. I just don't have the stamina to keep up with my own weight right now.
I will say, exercise-wise, anytime you do anything strenuous, like power training, and you go through a whole regimen, what happens in a very simple term, and I could be very fucking wrong, but in very simple fucking whatever, your muscles destroy themselves and rebuild themselves, which is why you need protein, so that they rebuild themselves stronger. So you ideally need to be taking
soreness.
You need to be taking a day or two off, especially if you're sore right now. Take 2 days off, make sure you're stretching in your days off, and then go back at it.
I mean, the nice thing is I have a 5-pound thing of protein powder, so right after I did that workout, I started, getting protein shakes like a motherfucker
also
and
potassium.
hydrating myself. I did not eat a banana, but I'll keep that in mind. Nick in the chat saying plenty of sleep. I think the big problem that happened after that was, and I won't go in detail because it's workplace related, I essentially had to do triple the amount of work that night as what I was anticipating. Oof. And going from I'm sore from a workout to straight from the get-go, I'm going to be moving 20,000 pounds, 50 feet across gravel. I was broken. It fucking sucked. But I'm not going to say it's Ringfit Adventure's fault. Just got to figure out something to fix that strap issue on the hip, because they give you a good length. It's not like it was too tight or anything like that, and I can make it tighter if I wanted to, even though God bless my old rooster legs. But it's just a matter of keeping that Velcro in place. And once I figure that out, I think I'll be doing a lot better.
Do they have yoga or Pilates things that go along with Wii Fit as well? Or the Fit thing?
What do you mean with this?
Well, because Ring Fit Adventure has a story-based workout thing, but I know a lot of these, a lot of the ones that gain motion-based controllers specifically will do something similar, but along the lines of yoga or Pilates. And I was just going to suggest one thing that really helps when I'm doing those sort of workouts is Pilates. Specifically, just because it's a little more, I don't know. I
think this game is aerobics intensive. The nice thing is it makes you, before you can play, it makes you do stretches, and it tracks that shit. Good. Which I think is pretty cool, because, Nintendo doesn't want to get sued for, somebody pulling a hernia or some shit like that. And, squats was one of the attacks I could do, but I could also do stuff like, overarm, and then holding the steering wheel in the air and then squeezing in and working on the triceps and stuff. And so it you don't have to focus on one part, which is nice. It gives you I think they said there was over 500 different types of attacks you can do that you'll gain overall through the story, which is basically different ways to exercise. And they're very smart with how they handle it, because, they're at the end of each thing, go ahead and push your thumb on it. They ask you your weight so they can tell you exactly how many calories you burnt during that level you did. And they keep a lot of track on how shit gets done. I think it's going to be a good game if someone commits to it. Not something I'm streaming. I'm not streaming that because it looks like a horror scene from a Medea movie,
I don't want you to become an e-boy. Come on.
I want to be an e-boy.
I mean, with how thick I am, it's like a triple E. Boy. E-boy. Lastly, another game I got to play, specifically with Nick in the chat, I got to play River City Girls, which is part of the River City Ransom game series. Came out on Switch and PS4, specifically that I know of. I got it on the Switch, but we played together on PS4. It's just it's not just. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up style game where you can play with, it's 2 players. You get to play as Misako and some other girl. It's Japanese names. I'm not going to remember this.
Kyoko.
Kyoko, thank you. And Nick's chat, both Nicks helped me out with that. And it's nice because the main heroes of the previous game gets kidnapped. There are 2 male characters. And so these are the girlfriends who also apparently are fucking thugs, are going to, go and rescue them while being, super cute or badass at the same time. It was interesting because my character got to learn stuff like I could dab, and it was like a touch melee attack that would obliterate people across the map. It was kind of weird, but sure. I've really enjoyed it. There was a moment where I encountered a character that was voiced by Jacksepticeye. That was also interesting. I heard the voice, I'm like, is that Sean McCollum? And Nick's like, who? And it's like, Jack's up. Is that Jack? I was like, what the fuck? I was enthralled by it. And the bosses so far have been tough, but fair and fun. And it's been a good time. Nick is saying I dabbed him a couple of times across the map because there are 2 options they give you in this game. In this entire game, you have difficulty, normal or hard. I managed to talk Nick down from hard, I think, because anytime I play with Nick in the chat, he has to play it on the hardest difficulty, to get the greatest satisfaction out of it. That's fine, I guess, but I just want to play and enjoy the game. The thing I fought with him over was friendly fire in a beat-em-up game. Now, I'm kind of curious on what you guys' thoughts are. If you're playing a co-op beat-em-up side-scrolling game, do you think there should be friendly fire to where you can hit the other player?
No.
Really? I was expecting somebody to say yes. I'm not going to say who. I agree. I also say no because I want to, beat up other people. I don't want to beat up my friend or get beat up my friend because we're trying to dogpile a single person. But of course, Nick in the chat's like, if it's not friendly fire, it's not a real beat-em-up game. So I proceeded to get my ass kicked or feel shamed for getting too close to him when I'm trying to do a move, and it kind of made the experience a little rougher, a little bit. Thankfully, after guilt tripping him, essentially, to switch it back over, we finally did it. But it almost ruined my game experience. Almost ruined Christmas for me trying to turn that thing on the fucking friendly fire.
I in general just don't like friendly fire.
I hate him everything. I understand it's not realistic. It's like I'm playing this,
There's there's a game mode in Modern Warfare, the new Call of Duty, that is called Hardcore, and it allows friendly fire. But that's one of the only ones. Other than that,
yeah, because there it's I'm pretty sure it's 1 or 2 shots to kill anything.
Yeah,
so it makes sense. You have to be essentially good because you're aiming for the kill, and so if you're just spraying bullets, you're not going to be good at it, and so you're just going to punish your team and yourself. So it makes sense there. I don't necessarily like friendly fire, but in certain situations I understand it. But in a fucking side-scroller beat 'em up, it just sounds like hell because you're just there to have fun and beat shit up.
And it turned into a situation to where 3 enemies would appear on one screen. He's right next to him. I'm worried if I go in and attack, I'm going to not only accidentally kill him and make him lose, money or whatever he gets from it, I might make it just more difficult for him. And you hesitate. I don't like hesitating. I don't want to sit there and let him do the fighting. I'll beat up this one guy on the other side of the screen because in this game, you also level up. So whoever gets the final hit gets experience. So, shocker, there started to become a level gap.
Yeah.
And so I started falling behind on my stats and stuff, and that kind of made me also pissed off a little bit. And it was rough.
It's like
imagine it's a great
fucking
game.
WoW if you could hit your allies. Oh my god. No, never.
Imagine D&D where you can hit somebody with fireball. That wasn't an enemy. That would be so bad, right?
That happens all the time, literally, all the time.
Yeah, it happens all the time. My character sheet says I would do that. Anyways, what's up?
Oh, I was just thinking of that was foreshadowing for what you're gonna do to the party later.
Look, I don't think my character is gonna be the kind that learns fireball. Actually, I think I might actually. I know that's dirty words coming out of my mouth. The sorcerer not learning fireball. It's like.
What are you, a warlock?
Anyways,
without agonizing blast? Nerd.
Need to talk to you as soon as I can about that.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much it for the games we played this week's, essentially. And yeah, we gotta talk because we're gonna get into the video. But so. We did something a little bit new instead of the modular segment, because the modular segment was great, but we kind of fused it into the topic of the show, essentially. We're going to do something called the Tangent War Chest, because if there's something that we're good at, is burning up a shit ton of audio time by talking randomly about something in any direction. And so the crew here decided to put 30 different things randomly said in the chat, not in the chat, but in our chat, and we picked from them randomly. Nick suggested that we take 2 just to add some flavor, but much like celery, he added something that's flavor, but it's really just water. So
none of these are mine. These are theirs.
Our video game discussion of our tangent war chest are the following. Chewing gum. Water. Great start to this. I like it. I like it. So, chewing gum. There's only one video game I can think of that talks about chewing gum, and that is fucking Duke Nukem. But there are some things I know about that have water. I'm not a big fan of water levels. Now, Nick, you look like you're trying to either defend or you're going to get ready to go on the offensive. I'm excited for either. What do you got?
I was just going to say, what if, so you know how chewing gum, you get like a certain amount of flavor in each like chew and then slowly fades away? What if science evolves to the point where they could just pack as much water, and so with every chew you get hydrated up to a certain point?
But if you chew too long, you die from essentially drowning yourself with too much water?
Water poisoning.
Well, so that's true, which is why I said to a certain point. You know, like how some brands lose flavor almost immediately, but some go on for quite a while, so it's just finding like a middle ground.
Yeah.
This feels like it breaks the laws of alchemy.
So what happens if a Squirtle is functioning because he's chewing this gum so fast that he's able to produce water guns?
I mean, that would solve like just about like if you think about in Naruto when you have to use so much of chakra to conjure actual water out of nothing to use water jutsu. What if they were just fucking chewing gum?
What happens if they're all chewing gum? Can you imagine like somebody throwing a shuriken, but you save your life by blowing a bubble and just hits it? Kind of like a who needs substitute jutsu when you got chewing gum?
Exactly, because it's scientifically proven that if you're even like 10% under like optimal hydration levels, you lose a lot of your focus and concentration. Like you just do better when you're at optimal hydration. So what if all these fucking hitmen and assassins and all these movies, they're chewing gum for a reason? No, there are no drugs in there. It's just water, because water's good for you kids.
And back in the 80s, it was considered a shitty movie detail at that point, because they'd show some of these cooler people chewing gum, but they don't want the audience to actually know they're chewing gums, so the special effect is happening. I think it died out after a while, because I think audience members started getting wise to it, so they had to cut it out. I do have a question, though. What would happen if you swallowed the gum?
It explodes and you die.
You drown.
Okay. So that's why they tell you not to swallow the gum. They say it sticks to your ship, but really you're just going to drown yourself to death.
But I think so. We're trying to relate the words that we choose. I'm still trying to figure out.
No, well, you don't have to. That's just the pat that I.
It just made me think of Pepto-Bismol, or like
yes,
or like that flavoring that the dentist puts in at the end when you're a kid. That they can be like, oh, we'll do mint or we'll do bubble
flavored
gum.
fluoride.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's all that made me think of. Also, ironically enough, another one of the words was bazooka in your list, I think, Tyler, which is just another type of chewing gum.
True. Bazooka Joe.
Well, when we put these words together first, all I could think of was chewing like mint gum or like spearmint, and then drinking water because it would be cooler in your mouth.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What if there was in a game a gun that didn't shoot a bullet, but anytime this bullet hits water, it turns it into gum?
It's a lot of gum.
Would that still kill a person if you hit them enough times? Because you turn their blood, which is partially water, into gum? Gummy blood?
It just gives them a fucking heart attack. You hit them once in the arm and they're like, why'd you shoot gum at me? Now you're gonna have a heart attack. Ha ha.
Palpitations.
Clogged your arteries, idiot.
Oh no, his blood's getting all gummed up.
I'm pretty sure there was I think it's Hunter x Hunter. There's a character that uses gum to channel his power, or it might be something else. I think his name is Hisoka.
I love Hunter x Hunter. It's one of those animes that I'm like, can you please just fucking make more? It's been like 3 years.
Okay. So with Hunter x Hunter,
there's not more.
Okay, I'll tell you why. There's not more with the manga either, because the creator takes such very, very, very long hiatuses. Like he takes like months to years long hiatuses.
It's been 3 years,
and we've gotten like maybe 5 chapters. No, like it's out of the company's control. Like there's just no material coming out. I believe it's because he's sick, but because of how good the series is, they want more, but he's not able to make more. There was something else that was similar to that, but yeah, that's why Hunter x Hunter is yeah. Wanted to explain that.
You better have cancer or something, man, because that show is really good.
Jesus, guys.
He's been good.
Glenn, why am I-
No, I'm saying it better be bad, because if you're sick, usually that means you can't get out of bed. Doesn't mean you can't write. Like, I don't know. There are authors in the United States who have been like put on deadlines by their publishers, and these guys are just like, sorry, that came out really bad, didn't it?
You know, you said it. I'm so proud of you. Also, I'm horrified.
Yeah, all I meant was he better be really sick, because there are very few things other than cancer and that would keep me from being able to write at all.
You better be on death's door, otherwise I won't forgive you.
Well, it's 3 or 4 years. How long has it been since the last?
He made a
episode came
commitment.
out?
Yeah.
I don't know. I also, as a creator of things, since I do Twitch and I D&D and stuff like that, like, I want people to experience the things that I'm creating for them. So when you just like willfully go, I'm just gonna be absent for a couple years and now I'm sick.
Oh man, I'm burnt out. Your family better have pox. Otherwise, you better get back to that grind. I don't care how burnt out you are.
It's okay.
Duck.
You'll just edit it
Don't
out.
deny me.
I'm not a terrible person. I
pirated your shit. You better give me more stuff to get on a torrent.
No, I paid subscription.
Sir.
I paid a subscription to see that shit.
I pay $6.99 a month. I don't care if your dog needs to be put down and you're trying to do everything you can. You want more money for that dog to live? Give me more shit. I'll give you the $6.99, which you only get like an eighth of. Anyways,
that being said, I hope you're okay. Just please put that anime out. I don't want you to die.
Turn around.
Just
Glenn's redemption arc is
out.
starting now.
Just put it out. Yeah, I have that
Yoshihiro
happen all the
Tagashi.
time. I have that happen all the time with animes where they're just like either the manga gets behind or they decide to just stop it. So these great animes, sorry, I guess all that frustration wasn't directly just at them. It's just all the animes that have been stopped for some reason, you know?
Glenn, if there's something I learned recently is when you get super passionate and angry about something, sometimes we speak with irrationality. We got to keep our professionalism as fellow people who are patrons of the art.
Put the anime out.
Or say fuck it and wish them pox. Yeah.
No, I don't want anybody to die, but I do want to see more of.
You should give more stuff out.
Is
I'm
there
on a
really
subscription.
So is there a character that uses bubblegum as their power?
Yes, so he's able to like, use that whatever ability, because it's been so long since I've watched and read. But his abilities is able to use his aura or whatever to create like a, it's called bungee gum is what he calls it, and he can manipulate it and make it stretch and shit.
What's his name?
Yeah, Hisoka. He's the jester.
Oh my god, I love him.
Yeah.
He's
I don't know.
cool.
I don't know if he has an English name, but that's what I remember his name is.
Yeah.
Do we have a favorite boss that is made entirely out of water?
Hydraxian Waterlords.
Oh my god, don't do this to me.
No, I'm honored with them now. They're not enemies.
Lugia.
Lugia's made out of water?
Lugia's not made out of water, but Lugia belongs to the sea. Remember the movie Pokemon 2000?
Yeah,
Lugia lives in the deep sea.
But they're not made
Guardian of the ocean.
Yeah, okay, but then it relates to water.
What about Suicune then?
So
would you work
whales,
with the Suicune?
But what?
Well, okay, if we're gonna do
What about
that,
Suicune?
maybe not a boss, but Vaporeon can literally dissolve into water.
That's valid. I was like,
And they say most Pokemon are 90% water.
Vaporeon's 100%.
I mean, we're also mostly
Dehydrated.
water, so we're all technically.
Yeah, that was my joke.
I just ruined it for you because
that's why waterbending and bloodbending are so scary.
No, it's okay.
to me.
It's sad because the only all-water boss that I can appreciate, besides maybe the, I think the boss's name is Morphia from Ocarina of Time, the water temple boss. Completely water with a single brain thing that moves around. The only other boss I can think of was, sadly, from World of Warcraft, from the Violet Hold. There's like this water, it's basically a Hydraxian water lord that got thrown into prison.
Water elemental.
And every time you you damage it, it shouts, "I will not be contained!" It's like, okay, we get it, you're water. What are you waiting for? Just die already.
What about Ditto?
No.
Ditto not only looks like chewing gum, but also has gelatinous kind of liquid properties.
What would a Ditto taste like if you ate it?
Grape Jello.
Grape chip.
Could it taste whatever you want it to be because it's Ditto and it can turn into anything?
Eat me. I'm strawberries.
Yeah, can you turn into a fully cooked turkey for me, Ditto, please? Asking for a friend.
This took
yeah.
a turn I
Would
was
you
expecting.
eat a Ditto, Nick?
No, I don't think.
Would you?
No, because okay, look. Think about it this way.
Yep.
A Ditto is a
I'm
living
thinking.
object, and let's say you turn it into like, okay, could you turn it into like a cooked turkey? It turns into a fucking roasted fucking cooked turkey, and then you start cutting into it, and then it officially dies. So wouldn't
I
it lose
prefer
its
broiled,
form
but sure.
because it died? So its fucking ability untangles,
Yep.
and then so you just end up
I agree.
and then it just end up being goop on your table.
Or in your mouth.
I mean, it's kind of like soy. Essentially, it's like it looks like what it is. You know, it looks like a burger, but really, the moment you bite into it, tofu. It's like it's supposed to look like it, but once you eat it, it's like, okay, this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe if you eat it quick enough, like you bite into the Ditto.
Hey, no. Soy
Teeth
and
the
tofu
skin.
are two different things. Tofu's fucking delicious as long as it's cooked right. Soy is not so much.
Glenn, you come from the state of California and you don't like tofu?
I also don't like.
I know you don't come from.
I also don't like sushi. I don't like. I'm like.
You don't like
I'm
long
really
breaks with
bland.
animators unless they have like death ills.
Yeah. No, I have a very bland palate. Like I just like give me some.
Isn't tofu
burgers
bland,
and
or am I
barbecue.
mistaken on this?
I love.
No, I think it's a texture issue more than anything else.
Okay, I can work with
Yeah.
that.
I like Jello.
I
I,
think
like
when I
pudding,
think-
but not tofu. It's too spongy.
I understand that.
If I were a bubblegum boss, to me would probably be like Kid Buu from Dragon Ball Z game. Glenn,
Okay.
did he accidentally sit on like a door handle
No,
or
I
something?
just.
What was that?
That was Boo.
Oh, okay.
Boo punch you. Wow.
Nick saying
Yeah, I
that's
was
just
gonna say, that
Majin
sounds
Buu.
like then you got, oh,
I just recently got introduced again to the 3D Super Saiyan anime remix, which is just Goku talking through going to Super Saiyan 3 to Bibbidi and Boo. And it,
if you take that out of me, I won't be Boo anymore.
yeah. Oh
And
my
Kid
god.
Buu is like,
Hercule.
it's just like
Mr.
crazy high,
Satan.
yeah.
Satan is.
Oh yeah, world champion right here. I got a present for you.
Ooh! Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say
he's like bubblegum.
I can't outdo you in voice acting. I admit it. You're a professional. I'm a goon that has a weird pitch.
Come on, Goku. Fucking King Kai.
Dodge. That's the only thing. Piccolo's dodge. So yes. Is there a final wrap us before we tangent our tangents on tangents?
One of Psy's songs
Tangentially.
on the same album that he has Gangnam Style on, that album, he has a song where one of the only English words that he says is chewing gum.
Huh. I didn't know that. Whoopin'
I think that's what
Gundam
we
style.
need is love is the name of the song on that same album.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Topic of the show: microtransactions.
Woohoo!
There's been a lot. The latest talk so far has been people throwing shade over at Destiny 2's Eververse with microtransactions, seeing that it's getting a little out of hand. Nick, you're our resident Destiny 2 player expert. I know you've been out for a couple of weeks. Can you confirm if this is the case or not? And then we got Nick on the scene over at the near the Traveler. It appears he's on the tower itself next to Tess Everest, I believe her name is.
Hey guys, it's I'm right here at the tower. I'm right here at the tower. It's chaos. It's pandemonium. People are I haven't been paying too much attention. But the last thing I remember
You choose your fate, Guardian.
with the whole Eververse thing was the lack of consistency in prices. An armor set would be, I think, like 2,000 silver, which is something like $20 or $30. But then an emote would also be about 2,000 silver or 1,500 silver or something, like one of the exotic ones. So there's just I'm not all of their
It's like $20 general or $20 tree.
in
Everything's
Bungie's
$20.
case, I I support them with their microtransactions because they're all cosmetic. They don't affect the game. It's just things to look cooler. But there needs to be consistency and a little bit more transparency in what people are going to be getting and what's not going to be in the game and what's going to be earned through buying, through paying for stuff. And also just making things more available in the game through playing as well, because now it's become a case where you'll have to get some of the cool shit and only through microtransactions, which is all it's one of those things which it's just a balancing act, because they are now an independent studio, so they need the money kind of thing, right? And so just fixing a few things, correcting a few things. I don't know what happened with the last event. I stay off the Destiny subreddit because that's a fucking salt mine. I don't need that much of sodium in my life. I stay off all the fucking Bungie forums because that's like a secondary salt mine. Don't need that much sodium in my life. So I'm not really like fully abreast to the situation, but it's always been a bit rough since they've gone independent.
Some people say that microtransactions is a necessary evil to for certain companies to keep going or to keep the base price down. Unfortunately, whenever it's said by this, it's usually by a AAA company who wants to sell the game for more than $60, but can't.
Yeah, because people don't want a game. They don't want to buy a game for more than $60, which is stupid because the price for development has gone up exponentially. Yeah. And so if games have to be set at the same price, they have to make money somehow. Because they're not going to make all of that through their sales. Okay, go for it.
Over in the tower, we have Glenn, a warlock. Looks like he's done hanging out with insert Destiny 2 character here. Looks like he's coming along to counter report against, looks like Nikhil. Glenn, you're on the air.
It's not necessarily counter reporting. I did look at something pretty recently. Hassan Minhaj in his show Patriot Act talked about the video game industry and just like the toxic things that they tend to do habitually. And he looks at all the different sides of it. It's kind of part of the reason why I enjoy his way of presenting information. And one of the things he pointed out is that, where it would, like, they were talking about the layoffs and stuff that was happening over it between Blizzard and Bungie and all these different people who would just, or Hello Games, who would just like be like, all right, you finished this project, we work you to the point of actual PTSD, now leave. And then they would bring in a whole new team. They would just fire them, I will say that I don't think that the price of games should go up. I do think it should go down, because there was a graph that I looked at very specifically where basically, and I've talked to a lot of voice actors here in LA who have, and I quote, they didn't start receiving residuals, like movie and television actors, until about a year ago. So Sean Schemmel, the guy that played Goku in the beloved Dragon Ball Z that I met and talked to, he had an okay house, and he had been voicing a single character in 20, 30 movies for over 15 years. And so I looked at a graph where they talked about, oh, this is how much film makes, this is how much television makes, this is how much the music industry makes. They put them all together, and it was still about 70% of what the video game industry pulls in every year. So I think they just want to keep their profit margins
on the
high.
voice actor.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
it was why.
But okay.
It's meeting him was the reason why I wanted to become a voice actor, because he said I should be. So I was like, all right, cool. You said it. Got it, Sean.
Well, I think that also depends on what's pulling in all that money too. Because if we're talking about games, what I would think would be a majority of that, profit or how much revenue the video game industry pulled, would be games like Fortnite, League of Legends, Apex, all the free-to-play games with in-game microtransactions, because that's what the model's now been for the last few years. What about AAA titles? Or look at Bungie, AAA titles from a leading dev that doesn't have Activision or EA or anybody else to send fucking payroll them. So either the price of the game has to go up so that they don't have to have as many microtransactions, or the price of the game goes down because now that Destiny is free to play, they have to fund themselves somehow.
Yeah.
Right.
And pay
and
like
fair.
Bills and stuff. Right.
I just don't think as a blanket statement either of us can probably say one way or another. It probably really does
that's
depend
true.
Studio to studio, which is us as a consumer having to see that and understand it and be okay with it if we really want to pay for the game to support the studio,
They both seem to be at a standoff, but one of them's Canadian. One of them's going to have to break down. They're both backing down. Guns are put away. Thankfully, save it for the Crucible, folks.
Yeah, no guns allowed in the tower.
No guns allowed in the tower.
Sorry,
But you
I
can
didn't,
shoulder check.
hope I didn't like step on your toes there, Nick.
No, you're good. No, well, it's a
Okay.
fair point too. I think people forget that they just want money, and consumers only see the video game industry pulling in money, but they don't actually stop to consider people need to get paid.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's a reason Dota championships are able to pay up to 10 million, right? And Fortnite champions able to pay out that much because companies invest in them to do partnership, like advertisements, the fucking skins in the game. People bitch about paying fucking 1,000 silver for the new Destiny expansion, which is $10, but then they're more than happy to pay like $25 for a Fortnite skin. Like, it's those kind of disparities that really grind my gears.
Yeah.
Choosy beggars.
Yeah.
I actually really like the model that Modern Warfare has currently.
It's what's that?
That is that everything other than expansions, which I don't think an expansion has come out yet because it's not old enough, but first off, they're
The
consistently
game's
listening.
over 15 years old. It should be out.
No, Call of Duty Modern Warfare that just came out.
I'm just messing.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
making a bad joke.
Okay, yeah, no, it is because the
Disregard
first game
me.
was called Call of Duty. This is just Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.0. So anything aesthetic in the game can be earned, or you can buy it. Some things have to be earned. So it encourages gameplay, and other things can be bought, but they never have anything other than an aesthetic change. It's not like, what was that game called? Warframe, where it was pay to win. Absolutely 100% pay to win, you know?
Right.
But in Modern Warfare...
And obviously there's that classic example of Battlefront 2 where you can spend 50 hours to get, Luke, or I think it was Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, or you could just give us money and have it right from the get-go and be stronger than everybody else, in the first, 50 hours of everybody's gameplay. That works too.
See, and I like that model, but not in things that change the gameplay. If you want to have a different colored gun or wear like a weird Twitch shirt as your character's model, sweet. No mechanical benefits,
How nice would it be if Riot let League of Legends players spend the money that they get, instead of on just champions, use it on skins? Like, make it an obscene amount, but...
If they didn't have to buy...
It would be nice, right?
Yeah, because I don't even have every champion yet, and I've got a lot of time in that game, and I've got some skins, but unless somebody gave me a specific one that they bought themselves, it was all random, So I'm just like hoping to get a skin for my favorite character or one of my mains or something. So yeah, I totally agree. As long as though, like, I don't mind microtransactions at all, as long as it's not something that gives you a mechanical advantage.
True. So I mean, we gave some nasty, well, not nasty, but less than stellar examples of why microtransactions might not be good. There are some games out there that, nowadays, like current day games that came out, don't have any DLC expansion loot boxes and still function pretty well, all things considered. They just couldn't put in as much content as maybe somebody would want, but if they want more, they're just gonna have to wait for the next game.
Yeah.
The first game in my mind is God of War. God of War, was prime, set up beautifully if they wanted to do DLC expansions. Hey, you want Kratos' kid Atreus to have golden armor? Yeah, sure, $5.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not? They didn't do it though. I'm so proud of them for not doing shit like that. They got so many different realms that Kratos needs to explore in that game. Could have added one or two on, for an extra $10 to go explore this world for an extra, 10 hours. They didn't do it. They said very specifically they're not gonna do DLC for that game. But it's still a fucking great game. Yeah. And I love it.
And I think
Is there any games that you...
Any games that I want?
Go ahead. I was gonna ask if there was any games that you could think of that was like perfect as it is. You don't need to add any more DLC the charges for and whatnot. Keep it as it is. We're happy.
I'm in a weird place because most of the games that I really enjoy have DLC that I love.
Right.
Like, I know...
Because there's another mindset where you... I'm sorry, I know I keep cutting you off. I'll stop. You're saying.
No, I was just saying, it's fine. It's not a much more detailed thought than that. They have DLCs that I really loved. But I was going to say, I think kind of like microtransactions between, studio, or the price of games between studios, whether or not they have microtransactions, whether or not they do, it's kind of up to the studio to decide, and then for the fans to react to whether or not that's for their game. You know, because for certain games, it's about replayability. For other games, it's about, like, for, what's that game? Dead, whatever it is that he played? Yeah, Dead Cells?
Dead Cells?
Purely based on you want to replay. But then there's other games like Modern Warfare currently, and I keep using this example because it's really great for this. The story is short, but it's good. And then most of what the gameplay is at that point, from that point on, is different versions of multiplayer they have. So giving them a little more variety fits with the spirit of the game. But obviously, God of War, that would be a terrible choice because their purpose in this game existing is for you to enjoy this story. Enjoy this. We don't give a shit about, like, the aesthetic should be the last thing you care about. We want you to care about the characters and the setting and the plot and who's hurting and who's getting saved or whatever. So, like, I think it's just another one of those. No one's sold out, in my opinion, for the most part. I just think that, like, for Fortnite, of course, give them customization. Oh, it's a free game? You need to make money? Great, charge them a little bit. If they love the game, they'll pay you for it.
I think a bad, like, against this kind of thing, situation would be the new Tomb Raider series.
Oh, they had...
just being, like, those 3 games, the base game, I love them. Mm-hmm. I love them so fucking much.
I watched you play it the other night.
But... Thank you. But the problem with that is, hey, there's extra tunes. You know, there's more clothing stuff you can get. Give us more money. It's like, but why?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you could have just added this in and, you know, you're getting $60. Well, no, we want to charge you $5 so you look prettier in the cutscenes. It's like, you want to explore this tomb that has an extra puzzle? Yeah. Give Daddy some buckaroos. You know, give us. Thank you, Crystal Dynamics and, you know, Square Enix. But still, I just, it was like, it was a great game as it is. You didn't need to add more, but you didn't actually add more to the story or anything. You just wanted more content, but then you charged us for it. It's like they had a full game, but they chipped off bits for us to not have unless we give them more money. Yeah, definitely. And it just felt like it was the wrong parts.
Yeah, it makes the parts of the games that shouldn't be contingent on that now contingent on that, so your experience will somehow get better by paying them money.
Right.
Meh.
So I had a couple of fun facts because I like to be historical about this stuff here. I'm sure you see them. Microtransactions. The first microtransaction sold by a major publisher was in 2006, and a lot of people heard about this, made a joke about it. In 2006, Bethesda sold horse armor in Oblivion, the fourth Elder Scrolls game. They sold horse armor for $2.50. It was like the people first testing it. Bethesda was like, hey, let's make an experiment to test the market's reaction to the DLC. And it turns out everybody hated it. They're like, $2.50 for horse armor? What the fuck? Like, seriously, of all the things you can charge actual money for, it's like, horse armor. Okay. Sure.
I would pay $2.50 for horse armor nowadays. Like, if you got me in WoW and they're like, yeah, do you want to get some new armor for your epic saber cat? I'd be like, fuck yes. What does it look like? Let's see it.
How much do you think would be like real life currency conversion to WoW gold? Does that already exist? First of all,
yes,
it does.
You can buy tokens in games, which you can then sell for gold.
Is this retail or classic?
I don't think.
Probably retail.
I don't know if classic has it yet.
Retail,
yeah.
Retail, yeah. Classic doesn't have this. It was basically like it rises and falls based on demand, but $20 would get you about between 30 and 50,000 gold, depending on what server you are on.
Holy shit, that's a lot of gold.
That's a lot to you, but you can imagine like the amount of gold people can make like later as expansions go on is exponential. So,
and I'm not very good at making gold. I found out. So
in classic terms, that's like making like 2,000 gold.
That's more than I've made in 23 days of gameplay.
It's still a fucking lot, but yes. But there's some people who would no life play constantly, sell everything, run the market and all that, and they would make enough money that they can buy in-game time and just live off the system that way. Huh. While people would still make money, and there was, no more of a black market because Blizzard controlled the tokens and the time and the in-game money. Mm-hmm. It killed gold farming quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then obviously there's different types of microtransactions that came out. I think, to me, the most popular one was loot boxes. Loot boxes is essentially, you know how it is. Play the lottery, give us money. This is DLC where you don't know what you want, but you want it, don't you?
There's
don't,
a big, pretty
you should
list
want
of
more
cool
then.
things you could get.
Maybe. The first known instance of a loot box system is believed to be an item called a gachapon ticket. And you guys probably heard the term gacha as in gacha games. Games found on mobile phones, usually by Japanese publishers, were, hey, play this intro for a half hour, and then we'll give you a random mix of like 1 to 5-star characters, and if you play more, or give us a little scratch, we might give you higher star characters. And so this was found in MapleStory, which is a very, very old side-scrolling MMO. This happened in 2004.
Oh my god, 15 whole years?
Yes, holy smokes.
I was a
Well,
baby.
15 and a half. We're in 2020, Glenn. Do the math. Going by numbers alone, 2020 minus 2004 is 16. Embrace the new year.
No.
So, Nick's New Year's resolution is to be nicer. Jesus. Apparently those tickets sold off at 100 yen per ticket, which, using dummy math, about $1. And then they'd essentially just use gachapon machines, which is kind of like those quarter machines that we see over at our laundromats. Yeah, kind of like that in this game. And that started it. Obviously, it got a lot more popularized with stuff like Overwatch and all that as the years go on. But yeah, started off with MapleStory.
Are there skins in Overwatch?
Are there skins in Overwatch? My dear child.
Have you not been on the Overwatch porn subreddit?
I have
Nick, we
not
must be
been
professional.
on a
The answer
porn
is
site
yes.
in like
there are skins.
months.
Yes, there are.
Well, don't worry. You're about to be on Pornhub, baby.
Oh
Hey-o.
god, my face on Pornhub. Color me.
Yes,
so
there
happy.
are skins and sprays and voice lines and victory poses and highlight intros in Overwatch.
Spray
That's a lot.
cans.
There's a lot of things,
Yeah.
and when you've played as long as I have, you start getting duplicates in just about every box.
Right.
Ugh.
But before Overwatch made skins like the hot ticket item wanting stuff, there was a different company that really, really loved exploiting the idea of skins.
Lol.
Glenn, you want? Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to take a guess or?
Lol. League of Legends.
League of Legends. Okay, the answer is no. It was Valve. Valve loved skins.
What's Valve?
But more importantly, Valve is Steam.
Oh.
Valve is Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
Valve is Counter-Strike.
CSGO.
All games that have competitive gunplay, but everybody wants to be a special snowflake. So what better way than giving you the ability to customize? And because of that, they decided to make skins that they can sell. Great idea. They made a shit ton of money off of it. There was a little caveat to that no one else, as far as I'm aware, has done this. They made skins that could be tradable, sellable to other people. And Nick, if you can handle this, I'm going to leave this one to you. Resellable skins.
I've heard stories of how some of Eugene's friends, my roommate, have made quite a profit on Valve, because I don't know if it still is the case, but essentially when you get a skin and you sell it off in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, it goes to your Steam wallet. And you can use that either in-game again in CSGO or on your Steam account to buy more games. And we're talking about skins that go for thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars. Can you imagine, like, randomly getting a skin on a free game that people want so badly that you could buy your entire games for a year with that one skin alone?
Now, mind you, I don't know how people earn these skins in the first place.
Probably just, like, continual play, kind of like Ingram style thing.
Nick saying, and I don't know if this is for CSGO, Nick in the chat saying they had crates that you needed to buy keys for.
Which makes sense, though, because Steam keys was something that was also a hot ticket thing back in the day. But I think you could also get the keys without actually spending money for it. So maybe it would, like, can you imagine making a business out of, like, buying boxes, buying keys, and then trying to open it up and praying that it's kind of like open up a pack of Pokemon cards and hoping to find a holograph you can sell. Yeah, but instead of getting the skin, you could sell that skin to somebody.
That's like Magic the Gathering. That's what I do.
I do Magic the Gathering
all the time. I've had a friend say that he's boycotting Magic because he feels like it's encouraging minors to get a dependency on gambling. And I was like,
Oh, jeez.
I'd much rather have my kid playing Magic the Gathering than going out and, like, getting high or partying. Like, sure, be a nerd, stay in my house. I'll spend some money on you guys to get a box. Like, that's way better than you getting thrashed at 16. Awesome. Yeah. But that's
so the height of this
Sorry.
this debacle, it got nasty, but the nastiest it got was in 2015. And again, I'll leave it to Nick.
And reading verbatim from here, in 2015, more than 3 million people wagered over $2.3 billion on the outcome of sport matches.
Using these skins.
Valve has made over $355 million from selling cosmetic skins based off of this. And so we have another item here on the list, and before we get to that, I'd like to think that all of the things we've discussed so far has been the foundation for a certain company doing a certain thing in regards to Darth Vader. But let's get to this last thing first.
There's one last thing I want to talk about with Valve, just because this is controversial. Valve realized that doing this, these skins and gambling them is actually legal because it's not money. They have money items attached to it, but since it's in-game currency and funds, it's not actual money and therefore legal for children to gamble, essentially. Yep. But there was a problem with this. Since it was third parties, Valve didn't get blamed for this. It wasn't their fault. So they sent a cease and desist letter to people like OP Skins and whatnot that was handling all the gambling stuff. But since they weren't going to get blamed for this because it wasn't their fault for doing it in the first place, of course, it wasn't. They said, let's let it happen. And as a result, they made over $250 million just over this little scandal.
I mean, there's a reason Valve hasn't really made any new games, if we're being completely honest, because it's a lot more profitable to just do this.
Yeah, it's all digital currency. I mean, they don't ever have to actually ship product or store.
Exactly. There's nothing they have to pay to many people except the team keeping all of this shit running.
Yep. And like
nothing
a small
team
to like
baby.
make new skins,
Why would you want to go through a time crunch and shipping on a new deadline that you've artificially set for yourself when you can just make new skins and release them whenever they're ready and then have people gamble and trade over it and you just get a cut of it and still make money?
Look, people love The Witcher. Make them a Witcher skin. Great. Got it. Done.
Can you imagine being Geralt of Rivia in a fucking CSGO tournament?
Be kind of awesome, actually.
Well, for the right price, ladies and gentlemen, Gabe Newell, he needs more knives for his knife collection, so, we'll make things happen. Don't you worry.
Just a Witcher sword for your knife and you're just holding it out like that?
Jesus.
Or you can walk around as Yeskia with your fucking loot and you just bonk people in the head with it.
Nick, I did cut you off to give that little fun fact to give yet another tangent because that's what we're fucking good at, but there is one last thing, yes. Go ahead. It's all yours, buddy.
And yeah, this is kind of what I mentioned earlier. I guess they're dubbed freemium. I did not know this, but free-to-play games that have a premium cost to them, where you unlock... I'm assuming this is what we're kind of hinting at, Tyler, where it's like you download it free to play and then you pay more to unlock more features and to get up there and actually compete.
You can play completely free if you want to. It'll take 10 years, or for only $5,
we'll just you're already there at the top.
Speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And EA
easy peasy.
Battlefront 2 was at the height of this conspiracy, I'd like to think.
Battlefront 2 was free though?
No, so Battlefront 2 was a fully paid game, and you either so as you played, you unlock credits in game that you could use to unlocking more characters that you could use during the PvP. But to unlock Darth Vader, you either had to, I believe it was 400 hours of playing non-stop or something like
the article I read 50 to 60.
50 to 60 hours, sorry.
Glenn about this earlier.
50 to 60. I'm delirious. 50 to 60 without spending it on anything else. Without spending it on anything else, that means you had to play the game as a fucking base noob. If you wanted to really get Darth Vader. So you load up the game, you had to play the game 50 to 60 hours as like whatever starting characters, then you could unlock Darth Vader. Or, here's $10. You want Darth Vader now? Or how much ever it was.
And it's weird because as somebody that makes a fair amount of money, like in real life, it's like it makes more sense to give them the $10 than to maybe not suffer. Like, there's a certain mindset. It's like, you're either going to enjoy the game and play it, and so at which point that 50, 60 hours shouldn't feel like a drag. But $10, you know, that's, for me, like, you know, 15, 20 minutes of work. It's like, or 60 hours to play in this game as, you know, Stormtrooper default number 3 if I wanted to.
There has to be a balance. I mean, you could argue it depends on the context, depends on who their target audience is. But then for a game like Battlefront 2, knowing what it is, you have to have a balance across players of all types, be it casual or hardcore. There has to be more incentive for the hardcore players to play, and there has to be enough of an incentive for the casual players to stay on. Which is why my bottom line with microtransactions will always be, just in general, that as long as it's cosmetic and doesn't add, you know, you're not buying weapons, or you're not buying, you know, anything that will give you an advantage, I'm okay with them in general.
Nick in the chat is saying a new term that I haven't heard before, but he's correct. This isn't, Battlefront 2 is not a freemium game, it is a paymium game. Because you pay for the game, and then if you want premium content, well, give more. For me, I think the biggest example of a freemium game is Clash of Clans. That's probably the big one in my head, but shocker, owned by Tencent and all that stuff. And, you know,
would Hearthstone
Clash Royale,
fall under that? Wouldn't all the MOBAs fall under freemium?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Man. But, yeah, the weird thing is a lot of people actually don't pay money for these free games. It turns out that there's only a tiny percentage of people that pay for a huge amount. The number is up to 50% of revenue for freemium games come from 0.15% of the player base.
So there's 1,000 people in a room, 15 of them are helping pay for that.
Everybody else is freeloading as they rightfully can because it's a free game, but
because
there's
those
some people
15 people are paying for enough new content for the freeloaders.
Oh my god.
And they look like gods because that's what they need to feel good. Welcome to the land of being what is called a cash whale.
Financial dominatrixes.
That is such a nicer term because once I realized there's a point, and I'm not proud of this. Clash of Clans, I was with an active group. I got introduced to it by the guy that trained me to be a truck driver. And as we split apart, you know, suddenly, well, going from a gas station attendant to a truck driver meant I got more money. Also, I'm on the road. I don't only have my phone. Hey, I still like to play video games. Let me play this game that he taught me to play, Clash of Clans. Hey, I'm 3 months behind everybody else, but I'll catch up if everybody stops for 3 months. Or for only $20, suddenly I started catching up to him. For another, you know, $40, I'm suddenly a little bit ahead, and suddenly I look cool as shit. You know, we got to do war with this other clan, and suddenly I'm the leader. But if I want to get, you know, the extra cool shit, the stuff that, you know, I want to be ahead of everybody else because there's that one guy in the other clan that just seems to be destroying. How does he have so much? He must have spent so much time. There's no way he couldn't spend thousands of dollars in this game. But if I want to beat him and show him who's boss, for only $100 this one time, just this one time, maybe twice, I got my paycheck, maybe 3 times, you know? Oh, there's a sale. This one's only 70. I turned into a fucking cash whale. I was so upset when I realized what was happening, and I immediately uninstalled. I had to get myself away from that shit. It's almost like that with League of Legends, except it's aesthetic, thankfully. But freemium is a fucking hook, line, and sinker for people who have fuck you dollars to go from 0 to I'm the best at this game by putting thousands of dollars in. And it funds games. And people know this. They know there are people out there who have money and aren't afraid to try to be the best at something by using their money.
And I think the most important shift recently has been in governments making sure that developers are more transparent with all the gambling that goes on in their games. And I think it started maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago with, not started, but the one that I can remember clearly was Overwatch. And lots of different governments in Europe stating that you need, like, the European Overwatch versions need to clearly state the chances of each different, like, rarity of item appearing. And there needs to be some sort of enforcement on after how many boxes are you going to actually get something that's worth it. right? If you're gonna spend money on the loot boxes there. Thankfully, because they're all cosmetic, you don't really have to, and if you play enough, you get one every time you level up.
Right. Also, it's weird that China was the first country they actually try to instill that.
Yeah.
China, of all places, that you think.
Well, I mean, they'll still get your money anyway.
Country. I think that's the big thing is
True.
If you're going to function in our country, then you have to let us know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
True.
They don't have to tell you what they're doing.
Yeah. No, not at
Right.
all. But you have to tell us what you're doing.
For if it's a foreign company, they want to have a little bit more control over what's going on, especially if it feels like their customer base, aka the entire nationality of China, might be getting milked. Yeah, I guess they're the first that would want to assert some control over that. But there are 10 game companies that over half of all this revenue is going to. And it's kind of weird because a lot of them I was thrown off by it, but then some of them is like, that makes sense. And then there's a few like, really? How? These 10 companies, in order. Glenn?
Tencent.
Will you do the honors? Tencent, the company that's in charge of PUBG, Fortnite. Not really a shocker. Makes sense. Fortnite is a freemium game. They're the big thing. There's 9 more, Glenn. Sony. I have no idea how the fuck. What games do they have that's freemium that they're getting this extra money from?
I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, it's got to
This
be
is probably good.
like
There's
a game
something.
based off of a movie or something. Or like, I don't know. Then it's Activision Blizzard. Derp.
Activision Blizzard. Hearthstone.
Overwatch.
Wow.
They're
Retail
making-
WoW. Holy shit.
Wow.
I mean, this is freemium.
Call
so
of Duty.
far.
Oh, freemium. Freemium. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're correct.
There is
You're
a Call of
correct.
Duty game that's based off in China, I believe, that does the freemium model. China specifically. And obviously they make, buku bucks over there.
Can you count Retail WoW as freemium because it's free for the first 40 hours? And that gets you hooked and you're like, I love this. I don't know.
Sure. I'll work with you here. I'm desperate.
Then it's,
next one.
Yeah, Microsoft, which makes sense. Plenty of
Microsoft, but what game? Not even Minecraft. Like, what game does Microsoft have that's free to start, but you gotta pay money to continue?
I feel like it's one of those things they have little umbrella companies that are making these free games and they have to claim that income.
Right.
On there.
It's
Yeah,
probably
remember
like fucking Bejeweled or some shit like
They
that.
just have to be probably. There's just the revenues were accounted by the top 10 gaming companies, so there might have just been publishers.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
'Cause then-
And if there's one thing, probably Sony too, to some extent. Sony probably has something dominated over in Japan, and Microsoft probably has a hand in everything that's American-based. Like, oh, fuck. Next one is, it sounds like it's following the trend at this point
Yeah,
then.
Apple.
Apple, yep.
And then
By that same logic.
yeah, EA.
EA has
EA,
freemium games? No,
Yeah.
say it
Premium
isn't
games
so.
with any pay-
No, they do.
Let's say I'm dumb, Nick. What game comes to mind? Because I actually don't know.
I actually
Command
don't
and Conquer.
fucking know either. Any Command and Conquer?
They have a Command and Conquer
Oh.
MOBA.
Oh, I remember that fucking shit now. Oh my goodness.
There's one that exists right now, and I played it for a while. It was kind of fun.
Okay.
But that's a pretty
Okay,
a lot of the freemium games that I get sucked into are the ones where you have to like build a kingdom and blah blah blah, and then they just reskin it for like Game of Thrones or this setting, and just give it a little different feel. And
Of
all the different
course.
publishers just use that. But then we have.
all these companies.
Have you heard of this next one?
Yes.
I have no
NetEase?
idea who they are. NetEase.
NetEase, imagine them being like the sibling company to Tencent. Big name over in China, evil man behind the curtain kind of situation.
Yep.
Like, no one knows the name, but they know the games they have control over.
I think 2 years ago they signed a deal with Bungie. They gave them a certain amount. I think it's like 100,000 for Bungie to develop a new game, a new IP.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm looking at a bunch of games that they had their hands in.
They have their
a lot
hands
of them
in
aren't
Uno.
something.
Tyler,
Uno?
they have their hands in Uno.
They are the devil.
They it looks like they have their hand in Minecraft even. Diablo Immortal. Let's see, what's another big name? Yeah, these are all like smaller games. They have their hands in. It looks like helping out with Mista Pandaria back in the day,
Wow.
which is for World of Warcraft. It looks like these aren't games that are like huge sellers, so not quite like Tencent Tencent's like the Grand Slam kind of guy, but this kind of like hyenas essentially for NetEase, which is interesting.
Because I mean, I've had times in my life, honestly, where just playing freemium games is my favorite thing. So I was constantly hopping between them and then playing them until I didn't want to anymore. Sometimes I spent a little bit of money, so it makes sense that they make. In
the ecosystem, you got lions and then you got hyenas, and I mean, in the video game world, I guess it makes sense that there's, if there's one big company that is dominating publishing rights, especially over in China, there's got to be one other company that's picking up the slack between it. And it looks like NetEase is that.
Yeah.
Next one is definitely a lion, though. I gotta give him a little credit for that.
A little Google love there. The ones who will run
Google.
Our future overlords.
Our future. I mean, if Google was able to demonstrate Pokemon Go, being the prime example with Niantic, yeah, they got some money out of me.
They did.
But then I cheated them. Who's the fool now? It's still me.
I got my, what is it? What was
I
have my Game Shark.
Me.
I got all the codes.
Why won't this Game Shark work for my Android?
Or my bank account. But no. The next one is, I'm kind of surprised by this one. I had no idea that they did freemium games. Is Bandai Namco.
Bandai Namco. No,
and then in a similar
that is a big name. I feel like Bandai Namco probably did a bunch of Pac-Man games or some shit like that. That just you want cool skins for Pac-Man. I don't know. I feel like there was one big name that Bandai Namco did for the mobile that
Tamagotchi.
Are you serious or
no?
What?
That's something I think they actually did, but that was just the little e-pets or whatever that you held in the.
So I made a mistake of Googling Android games by Bandai Namco. Naruto, Sword Art Online, Pac-Man, Galaga Wars, Pac-Man, Naruto Shippuden, Pac-Man, Dragon Ball Z. So a bunch of Shonen Jump titles that they put onto the mobile platform, which is probably riddled to fucking death.
With microtransactions.
And ads.
Yeah. And lastly, this is the one that makes me sad, but sad. I kind of give the sad nod.
Nintendo.
Nintendo is one of the top 10 people that make money off of freemium games.
Pokemon Go.
And it makes sense. Pokemon Go, Fire Emblem Heroes, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
What about Pokemon Quest?
Pokemon Quest is technically a freemium game. It's not on a mobile platform, which is where we're used to it. But Pokemon Quest is a free-to-play game that has some DLC.
No, Pokemon Quest is on mobile.
Oh, is it now? Or I think it always was, actually.
Yeah, I think they launched in tandem. Mobile and on Switch.
That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, they've had their hands in. Once they realized that there was money to be had on the mobile platform, Super Mario Run. Actually, that is probably the one example where they tried to go against the grain by charging money people up front. They let you play a free demo, but if you want to play the full game, you pay for it. So they tried going against it, but then people hated that. So all right, freemium. It was yeah, we're happy. We'll give you money bit by bit until we realize we gave it all.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, transactions in a nutshell, people. It's
so
fun.
Funny. You feel like you're not spending a lot, and then by the end of it, you've spent more than the value of the game by far. Usually, you know, a 60.
But most importantly, they gave the game to you for free, so you almost feel in debt.
Yeah, I totally feel that.
Kind of reminds me of a scam back in the day that I heard of, where somebody was like, "Hey, I'm going to make a deal for you," and it seemed incredulous. I'm going to give you $15,000 for something. I don't remember what the full detail of the scam was, but they're like, we're going to give you the suitcase that is full of the money. You can take it, you can count it, you can check it. All $15,000 is in there. And if you want to make this deal, come back and we'll make the deal. And they let them hold on to that suitcase full of money. They counted it. They realized it, was good. They made the deal. Money was stolen. And so it was just Nick smiling hey, I knew there was a hook. And the idea is they make you see, hey, this is a good game. I'm having fun with it. And, they're holding back, hold back the transactions. We got to make them think it's an enjoyable game before, when we start hitting them hook, line, and sinker. And it's and then it hits. But, hey, it works, right? People are making money.
Yay.
At least 10 people are.
Well, it's one of those things, too. I mean, I don't know. I don't hate it. Because, it helps if it's one of those things that'll help keep a smaller studio in business, sure. Good.
Right.
It'll help you develop more
But
games.
the question is, are any of these 10 people small businesses?
No. Well, Tencent was, though. Like, they've got two. They've got 2 games, and until like 2 years ago, I had no idea, So I feel like they just kind of bursted on the scene, being a small studio that
much
made
like
something
PUBG
awesome.
and Fortnite specifically.
Yeah.
They definitely blew up fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Microsoft is not a very big company. They clearly need all the help they can get. Humor's not working well in my favor today, but you get what I mean. Funny, folks. I'm funny.
You are funny. Don't say that sarcastically. Be nice to my friend.
I'm not funny today.
Also, Tencent has a chunk of hand in League of Legends.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yep. Again, behind the scenes, they're the Wizard of Oz and behind the curtain over there, making the real stuff happen. And they're gonna make money
Illuminati,
for it.
man.
Nick,
Hi,
baby, let's wrap this up. Game releases. We got hot bangers this week. First week of January, where everybody doesn't have money, so nobody wants to release games, but we got 2. And I was smart enough to include a link with each one, so you can click one and check it out, what it is, if you wanted to.
Well, too late, Tyler. I've already looked them up. First up on the list is AO Tennis 2, PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, coming out January 9th. This looks like if EA was to make a tennis game, it looks like kind of realistic. But yeah, it's a sports game. It's not EA, it's developers Big Ant Studios, published by Big Ben Interactive. So probably a sports game actually worth playing.
I don't like a tennis video game unless it's a fighting game, though. It just doesn't seem right,
No, of course not. It doesn't seem right at all. Clearly,
if I can't play as Waluigi, what's the point?
What's the point if you can't play as Waluigi for any game, Tyler? That's the real question.
Hey, fucking men! Holla, holla, back to the choir.
Nick says that he's played a lot of Big Ben games and they rather suck. And my point was more so on that this is not a sports game by EA. And it's probably going to be better. I just fucking hate EA, Nick. That's it. I just fuck EA. The next game on the list is Monster Hunter World. The Iceborne DLC is now on PC. January 9th. It's finally out on PC. It's been about 6-ish months. No. August, September, I can't count, like
Console
4 or 5 months. Not exclusive. It's just I think there's a little bit of a delay in the development cycle. Yeah.
Or porting, essentially.
Yeah, because even the PC release took a few months to come out. Originally for Monster Hunter World. So rejoice, PC gamers, for Monster Hunter World. Iceborne is now here.
Thank you, console noobs, for beta testing for us.
Winter is now here. And so that's it for game releases. As far as I've seen, there are not as many coming out later this month, but there's something. I think they're better next week, or at least bigger names. Not necessarily better, but just bigger, like harder hitting titles next week.
Right.
And then moving down to this day in gaming for January 6th, following the trend of not much coming out generally in this first week of Jan. Tyler, you actually put this down here. Would you like to tell us what this one game is? Because I've looked through the list and I really couldn't find anything.
Good. Make sure I wasn't the fool skipping over something juicy. Over the treasures and troves of goody stuff that we could find in this day in history, we found one little gem. And that is Monopoly, SpongeBob SquarePants edition for the PC in 2008. Happy...
Could I play a Squidward? I just want to play
birthday.
a Squidward.
I mean, yeah, you could. I'm sure you could.
Cool.
Can you imagine being Squidward owning Boardwalk and Park Place and just putting them all out of business and making them declare bankruptcy? Yeah. In the end, I only owned the stuff. I have all the money, but nothing to buy. I don't want a Krabby Patty. It went to my thighs as I turned my eyes to the cold, dark skies. Anyways, enough poetry from me. Glenn has a hot word.
Bros.
Yes.
Brethrens.
I know that
Comrades.
we don't like usually go, oh, game releases, let's talk about MOBAs, but Angry Birds came out. Angry Birds in 2011.
What the fuck? Did I miss that?
In 2011.
Wait, did I also miss
Angry
that?
Birds Mac App Store
Okay.
released.
Okay, so this is the very important Glenn, but
Okay,
also in our defense, this was not the original iOS release. This was for like the MacBooks, so it's like the this is the So
I
if
apologize.
no, like if it was the original release, we would have been looking for iOS, but now this came available for like laptops and like shit.
Okay.
I got excited because I got the spear. I'm like, we're going hunting. We're going to find more microtransactions.
That being said, I think a lot of people could relate to this. One of the first mobile games, like on my mobile phone, was Angry Birds, as far as I can remember.
Right.
No, actually, no, that's a fucking lie.
Say Angry Beavers.
That's
I
a
got really
fucking lie.
excited.
It was Snake on the Nokia 3310, the fucking world's most indestructible weapon.
True.
Jewel 2 came
That
out
was
today.
actually the first thing that they tried to use instead of copper for the railgun, and it worked out successfully. Not only did they obliterate half the moon, which they had to reconstruct several years later, they reused the phone to make the call, saying it was a success.
Yep. It's the same thing that Luke Skywalker force bended into the core of the Death Star. It wasn't actually a laser beam.
George Lucas himself, they talked him out of it. They were going to initially have the Death Star shoot a Nokia phone at the planet to destroy it, but they're like, we need sci-fi. That's not sci-fi enough. We're gonna have to use the death ray, and it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, this is from our conversation with George Lucas earlier last year. Actually, guys, he's a good guy.
Ooh, oh my god. I don't know if I told you guys about this.
Speaking of George Lucas and God, yes.
Well, I mean, I met one of the guys that worked on the miniatures for... Did I tell you about this already?
No, I'm just laughing because it's one of those, I met someone super cool.
Yeah, his name is, oh my god, Fawn. He owns a place called Funko Studios, and they, like, worked on... They did a lot of... They do, like, stop-motion animation, miniature work, and so, like, I saw some of the original fucking TIE fighters from that they used in 4, 5, and 6, and then also some of the ones that they made, which were like, you know, the droid tanks in episode 1, and like I saw set pieces from Nightmare Before Christmas. But either way, this guy was really cool, and I got to learn lightsaber work from a guy who learned his work from the guys who like choreographed Duel of the Fates, and were one of them was actually Christopher Lee's stunt double, and so like they trained
really cool.
Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen and all those guys, Obi-Wan all those guys. So I don't know. I forgot to say that was something that should have been in the IRL section that I just got reminded of. So
yay, Star Wars! No, that's really cool.
So dope. And for us D&D fans, the original sculpt for the It's actually a magical item in Dragon Heist, and I can't remember what it's called right now, but it has 3 eyes on it. It has an aboleth in it. Super awesome. The original Stone of Galore. They found that.
Ah, yes, that one.
The Stone of Galore, and they did the Stream of Many Eyes, which was another D&D event recently. Anyway, it was awesome.
Okay, let's wrap this beautiful little present up in a tiny little bow. We ran a little long in the tooth, but it was the first session. I kind of anticipated it. Gotta work around, see what we got going on here. Hey, we went on a tangent or 30. You can find me on Twitter at 2timestyler. Where can we find you, Nick, and all your gloriousness now that you're back?
You can find me on Twitch and Instagram
voice.
at LR11, and you can also find me on Twitter at LRThe11th. I'm waiting for that motherfucker who owns LR11 to like be scrubbed so that I can actually claim it.
So that's why you went across the country.
I don't want to
You doxed him.
No, I went for a family
No,
vacation.
we don't support doxing Twitch. Please don't ban us.
But Glenn, where can people find you?
Twitter.
Cool.
Okay.
Glenn Houston 2Fs looks like Hudson, and also on Twitch at Razeth Raezeth.
I seriously thought you were gonna say on Twitter. Cool. It's like saying, yeah, meet me around the corner.
Yeah. Do you have a phone? Yeah, call my cell. Bye.
Hey, I need to get to your house. Do you have a GPS?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Where do you live? Down the street from that school.
Look for the driveway. You can check out Casual Master Quest on Twitter at CMQ Network. Our brand spanking new name. I adore. I love it. You can also email us at casualmasterquest@gmail.com for some reason if you want to be funny. Or you can go on our Instagram and on Facebook at Casual Master Quest. You can also check out our Discord, which you can find out on our Twitter at CMQ Network. We got a little link at the top of the description, courtesy of Nick. Shows everything that you could possibly want on there if you want to look for it. And lastly, if you liked us but you want to see us murder each other and trying to understand the ways of the world in Dungeons & Dragons, you can check out our D&D podcast at Casual Quest Masters, also on the same podcast feed. So if you want to check it out, or find us live on Thursdays. Anyways, I think that's going to be it. Great episode. Glenn is going loopy. I thought Nick was hilarious, but we're about to make it 3 of a kind. That Nick, that was Glenn. This is Tyler. And that was Casual Master Quest. Thank you guys very much. See you next week. And don't forget to never stop the grind. Bye-bye. The intro to the podcast, titled Casual Master Quest, was paid for and produced by the wonderful talent Revelries Music. You can find more of their work at soundcloud.com/Revelries Music, or just click on the link in the show descriptions. The background music is the album Top 50 Best Classical Piano Music by Brilliant Classics. You can find out more about Creative Commons at www.creativecommons.org/license/by/4.0.